What's going on, motherfuckers? Welcome to the Crocs and Hot Pockets podcast. My name is Snackers, and today is Sunday, April fucking 11th, 2020, and this is episode number 144. Tonight on the podcast, we have the normal, the usual, the nothing but special MiddleAgedStream and BishopGP. What's going on, Jimmy?
Yo, what's crack-a-lackin'?
I see you're live from the Cult Cave, also known as the basement of your local Jehovah's Witness church.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just telling Bish that on Tuesdays and Thursdays it's a bingo parlor, so we have to clean up all of our stuff and move it out. So we usually, and then we didn't have a meeting after the last Thursday, so we just hadn't put everything back yet.
That's fair. And sorry. There has been so many sirens that have been going by our house as of late. It's been fucking annoying. Anyway, Bishop, how are you doing, sir?
Dude, I'm doing good, man. Speaking of sirens, I live really close. I think I've talked about this before, but we live really close to a ambulance dispatch building that I found out about recently. And literally every 40 minutes, there's a siren that goes past. God. But this building's pretty decent, pretty well insulated. So you hear them, but I don't think it ever gets picked up in the mic.
What was the name of the vehicle?
A Mercedes.
You're not going to say it, are you?
Ambulance. Ambulance?
Okay.
What did I say? Ambulance. Did I say ambulance?
I thought you said ambulance. Or was it
ambulance.
Ambulance.
You know what I found out? I was playing Hell Let Loose recently, right? Which is like a big battle, or kind of like Battlefield World War II simulator game. And I pull out my bifocals, okay? And I call them binoculars. I've called them binoculars my entire life.
Binoculars or
binoculars.
bra?
I call them binoculars.
Okay.
And it's binoculars, and I didn't know that. So I feel like there's a bunch of words. I might actually be an idiot. Like I might actually have verbally the lowest IQ of anyone on this podcast.
So there's been a lot of words that I've noticed over the course of the podcast that I've seen you mispronounce. It's not like you're not pronouncing like documentary, like documentary, right? Like you're it's
documentary.
Documentary. It's like one syllable or one letter will just be off just enough to where I question it when you say it. And then so I get you to repeat it. Obviously the commercial was probably the best of all time. But it's actually funny you say that, because every time I go to say binoculars, I stumble. I'm like, binoculars, Eulars or Yellars?
See, that's the thing. I don't know, man. Like, the problem is that the term, I'm mispronouncing it, right? So the thing is that I don't feel like I'm mispronouncing it, which is the big problem. Like, I don't even know that these things are a problem. I was watching, there's some TikTok where some guy, I think it was related to toilet paper or something, but he didn't know that this word was was pronounced a different way. And he didn't realize it and this guy was 30, 40 years old. And I feel like that every single day. Like, Casey brings something up to me and she's like, did you just say binoculars instead of binoculars? I was like, what the hell? What are you saying?
Jimmy, are you muted?
Yeah, he's muted. I saw his mouth move. Uh-oh.
No, that I was sipping myself.
Oh, okay.
Yo, I saw his mouth move. I got scared, man.
Are you talking about the Tupperware TikTok?
Tupperware. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. So the guy was saying Tupperware, and then he stopped him. It was the guy from, it was some TLC comedy show. Knackers? What's it called?
No idea. I don't watch TV.
No idea. Okay. It's some prank show with a bunch of New Yorkers. It's just like a regular New Yorker show where they prank people, one of those. But yeah, he said Tupperware. And there's so many words like that. But it's we just spilled a beer. Did it hit the keyboard? Did you save it?
No, it hit everything else though.
No.
Okay, list the items. Uh-oh.
You clean that, and me and Bishop
talk. We'll talk.
You'll fuck?
Go get a we'll fuck. You go, you get paper towels. And this guy's a Neanderthal, man.
All right, what do you want to talk about?
We need to get this guy a padded cell, because then it's safe, no electronics. We just need to put foam up on all the walls,
I agree.
Yeah. What should we talk about?
You want to talk about?
I built a new PC. We can talk about that.
Yeah.
Yep. So that took. I think I've probably talked about it for the past 15 podcasts, waiting for
nobody cares
cards.
about
no one cares about that. Yep.
That stuff. I just want to know the specs. Tell me about the specs.
Okay, so it has the PC is CPU is a 5950X, which I waited like 6 months for. 3080. I think it's the EVGA one. Yep.
Oh, nice.
64 gigs of DDR4 3600. 2 NVMe's, 1 terabyte NVMe's, and a lot of other just stupid stats that really don't matter. So that's all the good stuff. What I didn't realize after building it, because I just built it this weekend, finally got all the parts in for it, is the amount of things that you have to install when you get a new PC. Looks like Knackers is clearing out his throat. He's actually soaking up the alcohol from the beer. He just wiped it off of what I'm assuming is his countertop, soaked the rag, and then stuck it in his mouth. It's like
that's almost as bad as like just going to the fridge and eating like a brick of cheese.
Yeah.
And then putting it back in the fridge.
Yeah. Oh, wow. It looks like the garbage man has now showed up at Knacker's house. The recycling guy.
Hey, recycling man. Hey.
I just washed my gaming mat like a week or two ago.
Ooh.
And if anybody has done that, it's such a dumb ass process. You have to put it in the bathtub. You got to get in there with it. You need to be naked. Bring in your favorite rubber ducky. It's a whole thing.
Wait.
You need to live stream it from the bathtub.
That's actually a great idea. I feel like there's a market for that nowadays.
You have to be naked when you clean your mat.
You do, yes. How else are you going to re-get your scent onto it before you deploy it?
True.
Okay, well, fair. That's fair.
So yeah, I just spilled whiskey on the mat. So now it's
what's the damage? Just the mat? Or
just the mat. Yeah.
Okay. And I saw you did like the high schooler alcohol tampon thing. I saw that. Like Yeah. But they usually do that up their butt. You stuck it in your mouth. I think you missed you missed a step there. Yeah.
Easy. So. I was gonna say something. I can't remember what we were talking about before the great spill. What was it?
Let's jump into what are we drinking?
I like it. I'm not drinking anything anymore because it exists on the mat. So Bishop, why don't you go first?
Well, I am actually drinking some sort of Orange Crush beer combination that Casey made. And it's actually fantastic. It's delightful. And maybe I'll share some with the Matt later so he doesn't get too jealous.
I like
Classic Matt.
It almost looks like Sunkiss, but just like a tiny bit off.
No, it's definitely, so it's crushed orange, spritzed orange, who knows, mixed with beer. So I don't know what's a spritz, what a crush is, but there's orange and beer inside of the drink, and it's delightful.
Nice.
Delightful. And I also have a Bang Energy I've got with a straw.
You do not buy Bang.
I bang, baby. I'm a fucking banger, my guy.
Oh my God. Actually, I can't judge. I buy an energy drink from time to time. Actually, I had one last night.
Dude, it was on sale on Amazon.
Yo,
I bought,
hold on
2 crates for like $12. Right.
So if you grab, I'm just imagining a commercial for Bang energy drinks.
Yep.
Hear me out. Okay. A couple, they wake up, right? The alarm's going off. They realize they're late for work. Okay. A boyfriend or whatever, like he's jumping up. He's like trying to put his pants on and everything else. And then the girlfriend gets up, looks at the clock, looks at him and goes, "Hey, honey, you want to bang?" And then he kind of looks at her and he stops with the pants. And then all of a sudden it's Bang energy drink.
She opens the side, pulls the can out.
The can out. What do you think?
I think you should write every single prank video in 2018. You should write the script for them.
Well, where does the sex happen?
It doesn't. It just alludes to it. It's a commercial, dude. You can't show sex.
Cringe.
Okay, so I'm drinking a Prairie Artisan Ale Plum Conundrum. That one of the pictures I sent you. It's a sour ale with plum, black currant. I don't know what a currant is, and blackberry. But I don't know. Can anyone explain to me what a black currant is? Do you guys know?
I think it's the sister of a croissant.
I think you're full of shit.
No. Okay.
How do you like it?
Correct.
I'm about to sip it for the first time. I was waiting for you guys.
So we're not discussing the things that we're drinking. We're discussing the things we're getting ready to drink.
Well, just this moment, I just literally opened it, and it is delightful. I would give it a 4 out of 5.
Nice. All right, sweet.
Hey, Jimmy, I don't know what it is about you tonight, but I'd like to take a sip out of you if you don't mind.
Oh, wow. That's harassment.
Let me get some of that foam, big guy.
Well, Jimmy, look at what you're wearing. That is a joke.
This.
I'm drinking. I have a glass of good old Bullet Rye. I got a glass of Bullet Rye, which actually, for the amount that was spilled, I still have a good amount left. That should give you an idea of how much was in there to begin with. And then I also have a lovely LaCroix in the left hand, ready to go at all times. And then for my follow-up drink after this whiskey, I got one leftover beer. That is the Prairie Artisan Spectrum, which is the sour ale with cinnamon, hibiscus, and chili peppers. And goddamn, you don't need to like spicy things. It's not spicy, but it's herb spicy. You know how how can I describe this? You know when you're eating something that has like a spice in it, but you don't taste the spice until you actually bite and break that individual thing, like the seed of something or like the crusty of it or something. That's kind of how it is for those. It's super, super good. I'm a big fan.
So wait, you bite into something in the drink?
No. It's like I have no idea.
Drinks.
I have no idea where I was going with that analogy. To be honest,
it's all right. We don't know.
So what I was illustrating in my mind is one of those drinks from the Asian market with all the floaty shit inside of it. You know what I'm talking about? Where they have all the seeds inside, and you're like eating while you're drinking. But it sounds like you have a terrible drinking experience right now in front of you.
Yeah, right now I'm split between whiskey, water, and one beer. So we'll see how it goes.
Unlucky, man.
Oh, you know what? I remember the one thing that I was going to say. I don't know if this is just me or if this is the entire world. My Google Docs signs me out of all of my Google accounts every Sunday, minutes before the podcast. I don't know if I'm resetting my timer every Sunday, like my login timer, and it's just asking. But every fucking day, I load up the script, I work on it, and then at 8:50, 8:55, I go back to the tab, and it says, you've been signed out. Every fucking Sunday at the same time, and then I have to re-sign in, re-put in my password, redo the 2FA. Oh my God, it drives me fucking up the wall. But anyways. Getting into our talking points because we have so many, and they are all top-notch topics, if you guys know what I'm saying. So, Bishy, I know you wanted a breather before we got into yours. Do we want to start really quick with what games we've been playing, and then we can start on the topics?
Yeah, let's do it, man. So I've been playing Hell Let Loose. Been enjoying that again. It's kind of one of those things, like the longer it sits on the shelf, the better it gets.
Can you give me a brief overview of what that game's about again?
Yeah. So it's like Saving Private Ryan, but in a video game. It's like Battlefield open world. It's really good. Not really open world, but big map, huge map, kind of like DayZ. Objectives, you go and attack the objectives. It's a battle. It's Saving Private Ryan, man. Just without Tom Cruise.
You mean Tom Hanks?
No, Tom Cruise.
Yep,
he was the barber in the movie.
Excuse me?
He's also the father.
Yep, he's a father of three.
Of the three sons.
It's not the Tom Cruise that you're thinking of, not the Top Gun Tom Cruise.
Oh, Tom Cruise missile.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Senior.
He was a backup. He was the backup in the movie. It's a different Tom Cruise, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, I've been playing that game. I finally can get 160 frames now that I have a 16-core processor. 32 threads, by the way. I mean, that's a lot of threads. But no, I can finally get 160 frames at times, which is nice. So that game's kind of it's terribly optimized, but it's a great game. I'm assuming that if you play it on anything that isn't like a $5,000 PC, it's the worst time ever, which is probably why the game dies all the time until it's a free weekend.
Keeps like humble bragging throughout this entire story. I mean, if you don't have a $5,000,
if you don't have a 3080 and a 5950,
it's like Job, like $7,500 suit, man. I mean, it's got like a $7,500 suit.
Check out these pockets, man. Look at these pockets I got.
Yeah, they got all the pockets, man. But yeah, it's I've been playing that. I've been playing Valorant. I've actually been enjoying it. it's just a fun game to go to. Just quick little matches and a little bit of Rust here and there. So that's about it. Oh, and NASCAR on this bad boy.
Oh my goodness!
Going fast, turning left,
Woo, man, making left turns hard, man.
Hell yeah, baby! So that shit's been fun. And I've been actually before the podcast, I was working on a livery, which is just like the design on the side of the car. It's just a big sticker kit. And I'm trying to find like a list of companies, US companies that have gone under in the past. So like Blockbuster and like some shitty brands, maybe like Enron, and just sticker slap the side of the car. So that way at the end of the race, I could be like, hey man, I just want to thank Blockbuster Racing for bringing it together a good car here. We had a lot of crew chiefs and engineers here putting their effort into the car. You know, I got to thank the sponsors and all the families back behind these drivers. Couldn't be here this weekend without them. Man, if it wasn't for that petty guy, we'd be here up on the front. But apparently, he wants to take us out every race.
And whenever that commission check could come in, that'd be great. I haven't seen it yet. It's been a couple years, but I assume it is on its way.
Yeah, absolutely. And next weekend here at the Firecracker Daytona 500, presented by Coca-Cola and Pepsi Motorsports. It's going to be a big race, so I'm looking forward to that one. So I think that the strategy behind NASCAR is literally a brand.
Tab Cola on the side of your car.
Ooh. Tab Cola.
Do some Tab and also Zima.
Oh,
Zima and Tab.
Holy fuck, Bish, you got a hot preamp there, my friend.
There you go. Hey, Hey, those are free. The next one costs you.
Okay,
right.
I have a notepad open. I'm adding those because I've been honestly trying to find good brands that are garbage. Blockbuster.
Chat, if you got any good ones, you can put it in the question. The bot will catch it for the end of the show, and he can write them in.
Yeah, isn't Tab what Marty asks for in the diner in Back to the Future?
No, he asked for a Pepsi.
You're fantasizing.
I think he also asked for a Tab because he says,
"No, you are full of shit."
You sure? Because then the guy's response isn't, if you want me to put it on your tab, you got to order something. Yeah.
Pepsi
Crickets.
free and a tab. It's both.
Okay. The story changes.
Whatever.
Jimmy's story changes. Bishop, you're
he does ask
preamp.
for a tab. I'm watching the video right now.
Ask for a tab
Give me a tab.
and a Pepsi. We're both right.
Bishop, you were peaking. Your mic was peaking a little bit when you get a little bit loud.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good copy. I'll do something.
Just crank it all the way. Crank that DBX all the way to 12 o'clock.
Okay, I dropped it by 2. Is this too quiet?
Nope, you're good.
Is that too quiet?
No,
okay, good. Okay.
Jimmy, you already went over what you're drinking. He has a penis on his screen now. That's what I'm talking about. Hot tub streams incoming. Let's go. I did my drinking too. Video games. We're on a video game. Dude, I'm fucking scatterbrained.
Good. I'll go next.
We take a week off, man. What the hell?
That's what happens. We're all at it. It's just like riding an eggplant. Okay.
Jimmy looks different this weekend. Jesus, man. What's
We're
going
all
on?
out of sorts. It's just one of those days. So I've been playing. No Man's Sky dropped a brand new update like a week or two ago, and it's another massive update. It adds this new multiplayer mode called Expeditions, which is Are you guys trying to threaten me by doing that? Are you trying to threaten me?
Yeah, Knackers looks like a villain from every single double.
You guys are like
movie.
swirling your glasses and looking directly at me, and I'm getting a little worried.
Where am I?
You're in Holland, 1976.
Hello? There? Okay, he's fine. So I've been playing that, and it's awesome. I totally 100% recommend get back into No Man's Sky. And the guy behind it, like the creative director or whatever his name is.
Tom Cruise.
No, yeah. He already hinted on his Twitter that there's more big updates coming. It's like every single update's been free. I'm telling you, man, No Man's Sky, the turnaround story of forever. I mean, of gaming. Can you name a better turnaround story for a game? As maligned and God, and and honestly, probably. I feel like for as long as we have this podcast, we're gonna have to keep talking about No Man's Sky. We got to keep the meme alive.
Yeah.
I would say it's really a good game, man. I was playing the hell out of it.
Yeah, it's like the Go XLR and pretty much everything that we talk about every week. We either shit on it and then we transition into liking it, and then we love it, and then we shit on it, and then they're like, oh, it's great again.
Mm-hmm.
So
You think Elgato will ever get there?
never. No, dude. Actually, I actually saw a few things that were released by Elgato recently, and I was like, man, those are nice, man. Like, I'm excited for those. Part of me wants to buy a few of their products and then compare them side to side to others, and then give them actual real run through and actually give them a chance instead of immediately shitting on them. And that might be interesting. So,
you know what I still haven't seen to this day is a video comparing the Elgato sound panels and their performance to the cheap $20 Amazon. Still haven't seen it. I'm waiting. Who's gonna put the time in?
Do you want me to do that?
That means you gotta buy the fucking panels then. Fuck that. I have those cheap Amazon panels. That's what I have.
I don't see them in your background. It seems like you're a lot of.
No, that's because I'm not streaming from there. I told you we have to reset up the decor.
Jimmy, what you just admitted to was it's cheaper to just not ask the question and put out misinformation rather than spend the money and be accurate about the comparison between the two. Oh, well, if you're going to prove a point, then you got to spend the money on it.
No. I'm saying I wouldn't want to buy those 6 foam panels for $200 when I spent less than that getting all the shit off Amazon to proof the wall.
No.
That's all I'm saying.
I don't want an everyday Joe, don't take this the wrong way, who doesn't know what they're talking about to do it. I want people who actually have the fucking technology to measure whether they perform as people say they do and compare it to the $20 versions that also say that they do what they say they can do.
It's like aerodynamics. We don't want some guy just blowing on it and being like, hey, these things are a lot less aerodynamic. We need this in like a big wind tunnel, blowing fucking wind and smoke on it and seeing what the drag looks like.
Yeah. We all can fold a paper airplane and they are aerodynamic. Can they carry 230 passengers or 130 passengers and get them to fucking Tampa Bay safely?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Hey, listen, I can shit on Spirit Airlines for charging me $5 for a pack of peanuts, but I'm not flying 200 people across the country, man.
Spirit is literal dog shit. I think we can all agree on that.
Okay, let me see you do it better, Knackers. Let me see you fly people across the country better, man.
Got him,
dude.
I would say I virtually fly people across the world by streaming on twitch.tv.
You can probably,
what a cop out.
you could go on Flight Simulator. And
let me finish talking about the games I'm playing so we can move on. We got a lot of topics. All right, you big dummies. All right, Pac-Man 99, which is the new Nintendo. If you have Nintendo Online, you can play it for free. Download it for free. They have DLC where there's like single player modes and all this other stuff, but you don't have to buy anything. It's very much like Tetris 99, only with Pac-Man instead of Tetris. So I'm not very good at it. The best I've done is 12th place. Totally would recommend downloading it if you have Nintendo Switch Online. It is a lot of fun.
Which do you like more, that one or Tetris?
I don't know yet. I haven't played the Pac-Man one enough, to be honest. But I'm not very good. I'm not very good at it right now. But I was very bad at the Tetris one.
What games are you good at?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Okay, so I'm also playing Bloons Tower Defense 6, which is a game that I wouldn't have been playing except for my son, but he wanted me to buy it for him. It's only on Steam and Android. Well, I have no Android devices, so yeah. Well, I'm not shitting on Android. I just don't have any. It's all iOS pretty much.
Why would you? Let's be honest. They're garbage.
Why? Yeah, I wonder why they don't develop for Android. That's so weird. Anyways, go ahead.
Okay. So anyway, he asked me last week to download like this game. I was like, well, you got to have a Steam account. And he goes, can I have a Steam account? And I said, well, you're not old enough to have a Steam account. I said, but what I will do, I'll open a Steam account on my other email address and I'll let you. And Steam, I didn't realize, man, there's a ton of family controls on there for Steam. And so basically, he can only play the games that I put on there, and he can't go and do. There's limitations on like a lot of the different stuff, and obviously because it's to my email, I can monitor all of it. So, but it's good. So I played that with him. It's surprisingly fun. I never really played a lot of tower defense games, but it is a lot of fun. Played some Fall Guys also last night with him, and a couple other people, including Hellhound. We did. Now that my son is at this age now where he wants to be a part of streaming, he wants to stream or make YouTube content when he's old enough to do it.
Cool.
And I feel like I can't tell my kid who asks me, Dad, can I stream with you? No. I mean, I'm going to say, of course. What do you want to do? Let's play a game. Let's find something to do. And, he's made the very reasonable request to stream with me once a week. And so now for the last month, we've been streaming, 7 to 9. We stream for 2 hours together on Saturdays. And it's a whole lot of fun. And I very much have enjoyed it. So, and then other than that, it's just been the usual NES stuff. I'm playing Batman. I'm trying to make it through Batman on the NES. Few other retro classes. Like I took a little break from Dark Souls. I missed playing retro games, so we're back to getting into some NES, which is kind of funny because people are like, "Will you quit Dark Souls to play some frustrating retro games?" And
right.
I'm like, yes.
What's the legal age to have a Steam account? Is it 13?
I think it's 13.
Okay.
Yeah. But he's not old enough yet, so I just opened a second account. And I think there's a way you could even transfer stuff later, too, or switch stuff around. I don't know.
You can do, there's family sharing, where any game in your library, you can just share with him. Obviously, limitations with that as well.
Yeah. But no, it'll be cool. He'll appreciate it.
Word.
He's a cool kid.
You mentioned that Pac-Man had DLC. What does that entail? Like
the
what
DLC
else
is like so the mode that Nintendo Switch Online gives you is the main mode, which is Pac-Man 99, the multiplayer stuff and all the multiplayer. But there's a bunch of like different skins, like to where you can change the background. There's also, if you want to play it offline in individual game modes, that's in the DLC also.
Gotcha.
So for those of you who are like addicted to Pac-Man, you want to practice and stuff against some bots, you can do it like time trial mode and all that other stuff.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was going to say, I couldn't imagine too many things could change Pac-Man to make it.
Yeah, no, it's more for just it's mainly, I think part of it's either cosmetic, and then the bigger issue is where you can play it offline.
Gotcha. So the story is just way better in the DLC.
You're an idiot.
Sounds about right.
You're an idiot.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right, Naggers, what have you been playing?
So I've been super basic, bitch. My real only video game time recently, since kind of changing the Twitch content, is Call of Duty. Fridays and Saturday nights. Usually just doing like some late night multiplayer. And I just finished the Battle Pass, a couple days or weeks shy of the next season.
Wow.
Which,
nice.
I honestly, I probably went through 30 or 40 levels of the Battle Pass before I even looked to see what I got from the Battle Pass. I don't care about what I get, but I do care about completing it, if that makes any fucking sense. It's a $20 adventure. You'll build your own adventure kind of thing.
Yeah.
So playing that. The past couple weeks, I've been playing Grand Theft Auto 5, doing heists with Robot Glitter and their friend Gunny. And I forget too often how fucking fun that game is. Like, just the multiplayer to kind of fuck around, do little quests, get mugged, stab people, blow up people. It's just good fun. So that's really the only game that I've done over the past little while. I don't think there's really anything else. So that's pretty much it for me.
Cool.
I don't know why I like Call of Duty so much. I know we've already talked about this a lot, but I'm still enjoying it a lot. I'll never play it competitively, but I do play competitively when I'm playing the game. I get pretty amped up. I get angry when I suck. But this is kind of how I play FPSs. That's all. All right. I'll take the first topic because this is really, it's not something I want to spend a whole lot of time on, but I wanted to get your opinions on one particular thing and then just read off some other funny things. Somebody that I've had on the podcast before, Loco, she does a lot of just chatting streaming on content as well. A lot of industry talk. And she did a
name dropper.
Yeah, she's been on the podcast. It was like 2.5 hours. It was a long one. There's thousands of people there.
All right, now that we're done name dropping.
Yeah. So she put out a tweet saying, quote this and give me your streaming hot takes. You know that image where there's a Disney character standing in the middle and there's a bunch of 100 people holding swords
and all the yeah.
So it was like, what streaming hot take makes Twitch community do this to you? And there was a couple good ones. So while I read these off, I want you both to think of one streaming hot take. It can be about streaming in general, the Twitch industry, Twitch chat being a bunch of fucks, whatever you want. So I'll give you some time, okay? And I'll just kind of blast through the favorites that I saw.
Okay.
So I had two hot takes of my own. One of them being the Go XLR is not overpriced. And my reasoning, which was kind of harsh and sassy, but I was feeling sassy pants today, was that anybody who thinks that the Go XLR is overpriced lacks the knowledge or the imagination to understand where it's valuable. And I stand by that wholeheartedly. And my second one was that Elgato products are not overpriced, which I know is a controversial one. But we'll just move right on from that because we shit on Elgato enough these past couple weeks. First hot take that I found interesting. Big streamers are only around because they got there early. And I used the incorrect there. I used the EIR.
Yeah, I was about to bring that up, but you corrected yourself, so I'm just going to let it go.
Bonus points. So, quickly, what is your opinion on that? Because I disagree. I don't think that there is any big streamer now that doesn't do one thing really well. I think that the people who are big aren't big because they were just there because they were on Twitch 8 years ago. I think that the people that are around still bring some sort of value to their community, and that's why they continue to have a community.
Yeah. The only thing I will say on that, there is some truth to the statement in the sense that being somewhere and a new platform early certainly gives you way more discoverability than you would if you show up 10 years later. So in that regard, that statement is true, but it's a half-truth. The truth is, the people that are there early and invested early were also ahead of the curve. That means those people were there, recognized what Twitch was and what was going on, and had the technical know-how and gear because the equipment for streaming was way more expensive 10 years ago than it is now. I mean, the barrier to entry was much higher back then. So I think it's kind of a disingenuous statement, and it doesn't. It's one of those things where you just try and, people try and shoot. This is, in my opinion, one of those generalizations that people make because they can't understand, grasp the big picture. They just want to make a blanket statement about stuff, and that's what a lot of these hot takes are. They're generalizations that oftentimes are they're not quite very nuanced.
Except mine.
Oh.
Right. Yeah, yours are factual.
Yeah, sure.
All right, what do you think, Bishop?
Can you repeat? Because I was listening to Jimmy, and I love, Jimmy's point was perfect, but can you repeat the initial post?
Yeah. Me? Big streamers are only around still because they got there early.
And there's also a thing called a script that you can look at on your PC. In fact, I'm going to highlight. See,
but I like you not looking at it beforehand because I like getting your on-the-spot thoughts, so it's okay.
Oh, well, no, I usually don't look at it much beforehand, but I follow it as we go, and,
right, there
we go. Point goes to Jimmy this round.
Okay. Point Jimmy, yeah, Jimmy gets podcast host points. Okay, so big streamers are only around because they got there early. I think based on the few that people could list, like Summit1G, Tim the Tapman, the handful of people that are successful on Twitch, they forget that there's thousands of people that put in the exact same amount of time and effort starting from the beginning. Maybe not that exact same amount of time because they didn't reach that same level of success, but there still are there are more people that attempted to do what they did that got in as early as they did that didn't see that success. So it's not this is an implication that you can, if you started early, that's easy gateway to success. And that's all that you had to do to be able to become successful, right? You can become a big streamer because you put the time in ultimately, or you got your foot in the door early. And I honestly don't think that that's necessarily true. I think Twitch is a revolving door. I think that if you don't have the mental capacity or physical or emotional capacity to keep your content fresh for that long period of time, or just even have the willpower to do it, because streaming is an extremely emotionally taxing thing to do long term, right? Anything on social media is emotionally taxing. So I think that yes, it's true for the big guys, right? They got their foot in the door. They were able to develop their brand early. They were able to get enough experience where people, when Twitch started to blow up, if they came to their channels, they had a very concise message and like a very direct image that they were presenting, where it became easy for them to acquire new viewers because they already had viewers. But I think the idea that if you got your foot in the door early, that's like what you have to do to become successful. Like, that's not true at all, because there was thousands of other people that did the exact same amount of effort early on as Summit and some of these other big streamers that fell off recently or fell off in the past few years,
or disappeared completely.
Yeah, that just disappeared completely, or that, you know, we're 5,000 viewer streamers or 10,000 or whatever that number is that dropped down. That it just makes this a very narrow-minded view of streaming in general, right? It just makes it seem it's kind of like putting a big barrier in front of you to say like, oh, I'm never going to be successful, or I can't. You can't become successful on Twitch unless you were there early, which is completely untrue based on what you see recently with, like, a good example would be Aiden Ross, right? Some guy that plays GTA RP on a separate server from like the big servers that blew up, I think, through TikTok and YouTube. And now he's one of the biggest streamers on Twitch. I think he got banned recently, but he was netting more viewers than XQC, right?
Holy shit. Okay.
Yeah. Which is crazy, but it's a whole different, it's outside of the Twitch community. Like, it's people coming from different platforms to watch him.
Right. Right.
But I think if you look at a list right now of the top 10 biggest streamers on Twitch right now, based on viewership, I'm pretty sure that like 5 out of 10 of them are relatively new streamers that weren't around when Twitch became a big thing.
Yep. I would agree. This next one doesn't really warrant a discussion rather than just like a quick response. I just found this one funny. So many people say one thing and tweet another. Makes y'all sound like dickheads in high school I used to deal with. Which
someone tweeted that?
Yeah.
Oh.
These are all tweets that I found.
It's not an inaccurate statement. I mean, but it's kind of like one of those things that, like, yeah, the sky's also blue, man. You know what I mean? The fucking sky's blue. Of course, it's social media. People are going to present one way and act another way. That is 100% what a lot of people do.
I would say that yes. Well, not only is like the workplace, everything is high school, because high school is really your first experience of how the world actually works. Like the fundamental experiences that you have in high school are really just primers for what you're going to experience for the rest of your life. Like, everybody always says like, oh, this shit's just like high school. It's like, no, that shit's just like how the world works. This is just how shit is. Mm-hmm. So I found that one pretty funny. And then I thought, like, what group would I want to be in if I was in high school? And the answer that I came up with was I want to be the hippies. The hippies don't conform to any, like, societal normities, right? They don't really belong to any group other than the hippies. They love everybody. There might be a little bit of toxic positivity mixed in with there, just a little bit. And then they just float, man. They just float. They do their own thing.
You want to live in 1969?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right,
Prince was onto something. No, that was 99.
No, you're right.
Prince died in 99.
No, he didn't. He died later than that, right?
I'm gonna party like it's 1969.
Did you guys see there's a new Ghostbusters movie coming out with Paul Rudd?
Really?
Paul Rudd?
That's what I said.
No. You said Paul Mudd.
The next hot tweet that I saw was, and this might factor into one of your topics, so we might be able to skip over this, Jimmy. It's impossible to grow on Twitch today, so we'll skip over that and we'll hit it next. Second to last one that I found interesting. The gear culture surrounding content creation is inherently classist. You're pressured to use what others are using, copy styles, and fork over money for things that won't really serve you as much as you think. Use what works for you and what's within your expendable income. Who the fuck likes staying within their expendable income? Is there anybody who is that responsible?
No.
I took most offense to that. Yeah, I'm not really sure what he meant by that.
Wow.
Or she, or they.
I just feel like a lot of these are just people this is the thing that people like to do on Twitter, man. They just shout into the wind. And then occasionally they shout loud enough and it catches the attention of somebody else who reshouts their shout. And then next thing you know, it's viral. And then they get some weird sense of validation with their message being broadcast, even if their message isn't correct, you know?
Yes.
And then two dudes in a beer glass are talking about it on a podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. That makes it more real.
See, but here's the thing. Okay. Bringing it to a table in front of bringing the conversation to a table in front of a live audience, the thousands of people that are watching, it's actually bringing accountability and making people back up what they're saying instead of just screaming it out into the void for engagement. You know, that's where I find the difference.
Yeah. No, sure.
Yeah. I think like what Jimmy said, a lot of these topics are they're nuanced, right? Is that what you said, Jimmy?
Well, these are just massive generalizations about stuff that are very much more nuanced than they're presenting them, you know?
And I think that these are what people genuinely believe, right? Like these are like little things that are like floating around in the back of people's minds. It's not like they're warriors for these subjects, right? Like they're not like parading in town saying, "Oh, I'm not going to become a big streamer because I wasn't there early enough." And, you know, like they're not going to do that. These are just like, these are ideas that float around in the back of the mind of someone that's trying to grow on Twitch that might be trying to, you know, break the barrier that a viewership or whatever the thing is that they start to believe, or like maybe they've been around Twitch for a long time and they believe that the gear culture is a little excessive, you know, but which is true. But like, I think that all of these things also bring up conversations. The problem is that no one on either side of these conversations is correct, right? Like the responses are always nuanced. The discussion is nuanced because it's just opinionated bullshit that's going to go back and forth. But eventually it comes to a point where like you surface some decent amount of information that people can then, you know, judge their opinion on. But I think I kind of like this format right now better than when it comes to a boil. Like a lot of these subjects tend to like build and people get stressed out about them. Then someone posts it and they're pissed off. And then it cut, like there's 1,000 people that retweet it and they're shouting at, partners that got their partnership early on should have to have their partnership stripped and get it, you know, and have to rework for it. Like there's a lot of things that happen like that where the subject eventually comes to a boil. But yeah, it's just stupid. A lot of it's just dumb, right? Like people are going to just go in different directions. Not everyone's going to conform to the same philosophy that you are when it comes to streaming or like these different subjects. So I think a lot of the time you have to just realize that like people are going to have stupid fucking ideas. Like they're going to think things that are going to either hold them back or that they're going to use as propellant to push them to the next stage. You don't have to agree with them, but as long as you have like a general idea of, you know, where you stand on like most of these subjects, like when I see some of these right on Twitter, you look at it and you're like, God, this is really fucking stupid. I want to write this big response to this and tell this person how goddamn stupid they are. A lot of the time you have to realize that's a total waste of your time.
Yes.
Right? So I saw a lot of the posts. I even saw yours, Knackers. And even though like I agree with what they're putting out there, a lot of the time it's like phrasing that gets me. Mm-hmm. But like we also have to realize it's Twitter. And a lot of these, it's not like they're going to go into detail. They're just trying to throw out a blanket statement,
right,
to get me pissed off, like saying Elgato products aren't fucking overpriced. I mean, who is going to say that, man? I mean, come on, man.
Last one was just a mere observation and something that I wanted to reiterate. Somebody said 1080p 60 FPS looks like shit in regards to first-person shooters. So if you're out there and you stream first-person shooter games and you are broadcasting at 1080p 60, your stream looks like trash. And it is a guarantee. And I know when you all tab and you pause your game and you look at your stream and your person's standing completely still, you're standing out there in Escape from Tarkov about to fucking extract, you look and you go, oh, you know, the stream doesn't look that bad. I am telling you, as soon as you move your mouse and you start moving, your stream looks like absolute shit. 720p 60 is still king. 900p can suck my cock. And 926p, while everybody thinks it's this amazing step up, it's really not. And again, this is all speaking directly about first-person shooters. There's a whole other conversation about 1080p
so like
60.
Even going back to what I just said, right? Like what that topic said is that it streaming FPS games in 1080 60 will look like shit, right? That's generally what they meant. But realistically, like those aren't the factors that play into why it looks like shit. Right?
Correct.
Like it goes way deeper than that to actually surface what is the problem. Like what is actually better about 720/60, right? Versus doing 1080/60. So
it's lesser. It's a lesser number.
It's a less number, right? So that creates a whole other discussion where like that statement is not true, right? It's true based on the factors that are at hand related to Twitch.
Just Twitch,
right? Or like the bit rate comes into. There's a lot of things that play into that. Knackers number 2. What do you think?
I would say that again, it's just way too nuanced. The truth is, the bit rate's the biggest factor. The ability to encode. I mean, you could push it, and if you had the right equipment, your 1080/60 could look good on Twitch. Still not great for an FPS game with the bit rate limit, because even 8,000 is not enough to make it. It's just not enough. But anyway, it's just again, generalization. It's not that cut and dry. It's not the whole reason. So,
all right, Bishop, what is your streaming hot take?
Hot take? Oh shit, I didn't think of it.
I got one.
Rustle some feathers.
I'll go. Streaming hot take. The reason people aren't watching your stream isn't because of anyone else.
Except for Shroud. Fucking Shroud, man. Taking all my fucking viewers, man.
Stealing them, dude.
Fucking Shroud, man. He comes from Mixer, man. He goes and kills Mixer, and he comes back, and he takes my viewers, man.
It has nothing to do with anybody else. And I know that's probably been said many a time, but I believe it. I do think that's the thing. Like, too many people are bitching about, like, dude, they're not, first of all, one, they're not your viewers. And two, it's like, maybe just if you spent half the energy you spend bitching about shit, could you maybe think about one thing to improve your own content?
That's the thing. They just want to play games and stream. I just want to play video games, man.
I'll play games and stream, man. That should just bring all the viewers in. You got to provide some value.
Yep.
But what's the value that you're bringing? If your only value that you bring is that you're playing video games on the internet, I got news for you, pal. That value is already, there's a lot of that. That's not really what I would call value.
Yeah.
That's you doing everything what everyone else is doing. You got to provide something. What's it going to be?
I think my hot take would be your content sucks, and that's okay. Like, everyone's content fucking sucks. Like, nothing is that polished on Twitch. Even like the top end stuff. There are very few channels that actually do things well. That's what I'll say. That's a good way to put it. Your content sucks, and there are very few channels on Twitch that actually do things well. There are people that successfully do things based on the fact that they're doing them, and that's what Twitch is all about. Twitch is like a workshop of like trying to figure out how to do things in the live format, right?
Sure.
But yeah, I think that's it. I didn't have a ton of time to refine that thought, but I think your content sucks, and that's okay, man.
Shit Tootsie Pop.
I'm okay with bad content.
A little bit of anal lube, man.
Which, by the way, I need to grab another beer. I'll be RB.
Do your thing.
Me, I got too much, I got too much focus. I put too much focus too early on into perfecting things, and that hurt my content.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Perfecting your content, attempting to, can potentially hurt your content. So like a good example of this would be you start your stream up, something stops working, you get frustrated, you stop reading chat, you stop doing anything because you're focusing on fixing the problem, you're getting demoralized, you're stressing out, you want to end your stream, and like you're all pissed off, your energy levels change. No one wants to see that shit, right? People come to your channel expecting there to be problems. No one goes to name one stream that you can name, Knackers, that hasn't had issues when you're watching them. Zoo life. Fucking motherfuckers, man.
You go there, everything's working all the time. Man.
It's because they have animals working in the behind the scenes. The giraffe is on production, man. But yeah, I mean, I suffer from like if I start my stream up, audio's not working. I'm like, fuck, man, like this fucking shit, man. God damn it, people like view counts like. It's like 3 viewers, 2 viewers. It's plummeting from the
-2.
Yeah, -2. There's less people watching. I'm watching other people's stream at this point. But yeah, like I I tend to like stress myself out. And I know a lot of people that do that. Like they fire their stream up, something goes wrong, they start stressing out. And it's like, sometimes you just got to be okay with that, man. You just got to sit there and be like, hey, this is the content today. The content is literally fixing this stream. Because realistically, like people use the term content. I think I know 5, like there are times where streamers that I follow have like planned content, but in most cases, people will come to your channel just because you're live. Like they just want to be around you. Right?
Yeah.
And content doesn't mean you have to have any structure to it. Like your content is just like a whatever fucking happens when you're live streaming. You can have like a generalized plan, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Like don't stress out about that shit. And I can't do that myself.
But do you think that that's kind of like a dangerous narrative to push? Because I feel like that's most people's problem is that they just go live and do what they're going to do instead of planning ahead.
Yeah. So I think it's smart to have some sort of plan, right? When you're going into streaming, but like of what you want your content to be, right? Like
let me rephrase super quick. If you are trying to grow a career on Twitch within that bubble, if you're just trying to play games and have fun, you'll give a shit about anything, disregard what I'm saying. But like, if you are trying to grow a channel and be like, have a career or a side biz in streaming.
See, I think that the meta on Twitch has changed so much that I don't believe that what you do on Twitch has a significant impact on your viewership. I think that I think you're going to end up still having, like, I can have a dog shit stream, and my buddy Dover still shows up. Like, he still shows up in chat.
Fucking
He's still
Dover.
sitting there. Like, it'll fluctuate, but I think that for a lot of people, like, they don't have the capacity or ability to plan out streams, right? Like, compare this to, like, creating YouTube videos, right? Most people don't go into YouTube because they can't do the planning process or they don't want to put the effort in. Where streaming, you can segment, like, and this is where I go back to the meta that I just mentioned. You can actually sit and have a bullshit stream and just fuck around and like play whatever you want and segment the content that happens within the stream. The content could be the reaction within the stream. So like, let's say you're playing Call of Duty, you're just sitting fucking around, you get an ace, right? Or you kill everybody in the match, right? You just shit on everybody. You then segment that, post that across different social medias like TikTok, right? Driving traffic back to your Twitch stream. And then at that point, you start to plan your content, right? Like, what is the interest of the people that are showing up to watch your content? What are they wanting to see? You can't just bullshit your whole way through streaming and just go live and hope that people come and watch your gameplay, because that is rarely successful. Like, it's almost never successful. But I think that, like, to go back to like discussions we've had in the past, like, don't overthink Twitch either. Like, Twitch, actually, you can do Twitch. You might stream to fucking nobody, but you can produce content on Twitch without any actual plan, just getting on, playing a game. And maybe that narrative is like, you can't become an XQC by just playing games all day, just with no plan, right? Even XQC has a plan.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But yeah, like I said, you can use Twitch as something that you're just live on, and then take the segment from that to grow audiences on other platforms to then drive them back to Twitch. But eventually you have to have some sort of strategy or plan.
To segue just a little bit, because I want to highlight on something you said before. I like that you touched on what you felt that you did wrong. One of the things that I felt that I've done wrong for a long time that I'm now trying to change is I ignored a lot of the aspects of Twitch that factored into building culture around your channel. So like things like sound effects, emotes, channel points,
lube,
badges, lube, what kind of lube we were promoting. They were all things that I was just kind of like, this all kind of plays into a narrative that I don't really care about. And they are things that I should have cared about for a long time. Now I'm just kind of getting into it, but I feel like there was a part of that was missing from my channel for a long time, was not caring about certain things. But I don't regret not caring about things that in my gut I didn't feel like caring about, right? Because I feel like going with your gut is the best thing that you can do. I would rather have to work twice as long, twice as hard to get there, rather than conform to all of the normalities that exist, do everything that everybody's telling me to do, and then get there. I'd much rather do it on my own terms. So I appreciate you sharing your not your downfall, but the thing that you struggle with.
No. Yeah, I totally agree with you, but I almost did the opposite when it came to a lot of things. Like, I was so focused on like like when you get your affiliate, it's like, oh, I have to come up with a bunch of ideas for emotes, right? Oh, what are people going to use, right? And you're forcing the narrative of what chat wants at that point. So, and I did this a lot, like where I hyper focus on, oh, what emotes are people going to use? What are they like? What use cases are they going to have? What are the memes that we have to create this culture? And I think a lot of the time you just kind of have to let the chat do that.
Yes.
And like chat comes up with the idea, then you activate on it. Because in most cases, like when it comes to like tier 2 and tier 3 sub or emotes, most streamers don't have any I don't want to say content. They don't have any idea of why they're using those or what value they're adding.
Yeah,
right?
Because there is none.
There's none, right? So for me, what I did is I was like, okay, I have one. It was this guy named Skydriven at the time. I had one tier 3 sub, and I was like, what do you want the sub to be? Like, what do you want this emote to be? Because you're the only one that gets to use this thing. And I think when it comes to Twitch, and this is where I go back to my point about just put content out there and figure out what the fuck happens, and then maybe meld some sort of plan around it. You can actually create that culture. I like that word that you used. You can create that your community's culture around what ends up happening. And then you can use like reactionary emotes. Like let's say I get a fucking ace in Valorant and I'm like, oh, and I make a PogChamp face. I can take that, extract that, and then turn that into an emote. Instead of just being like, okay, I'm going to go hire an emote artist that can draw me as a character in a bunch of different poses and then use those as my emotes. Because if there's no value in those, like, you're like trying to force that upon your community and saying, hey, this is when you're going to use these. You need to use the PogChamp when I win. You need to use the, Monka Steer when I'm crashing into a wall.
Yep.
So yeah, I've spent a lot of time in my streaming career now reflecting back on it, putting too much effort into shit that I should have just left alone to let the chat decide.
Guilty. Very guilty. Hi, Jimmy.
Hey, I'm going to go, and I'll be back, okay?
You better come back with a note about that alcoholic beverage, by the way.
Yeah, I'll go talk to the lady, man. I'll go talk to her. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Jimmy, you want to touch on your second round of 5G?
Yeah, I got the second round of 5G boost on Wednesday. I was feeling pretty good. I even streamed on Wednesday night. Sore arm, mild fatigue. Man, Thursday I woke up, dude. I was freaking I was
zonked.
Hurt, man. Yeah, I slept most of Thursday. Kind of had the fever and chills a lot of the day. Just kind of felt out of it. Took another day Friday, and finally Saturday, but literally 48 hours after the shot, felt almost completely back to normal. It took about 48 hours.
Wow. Okay.
But that first day after, ooh, man, that was a rough day, man.
Rough.
The second day, I could have made it at work. The second day, I could have. It would have been a rough day at work. I had the days. I just took another day off.
I'm going to try and plan to do the same. Winnie got her first round of Pfizer a couple hours ago. Literally, I felt so bad. As I was giving her a kiss before I started the podcast, she was laying on the couch, and I reached down, I put my hand on her shoulder. I'm 99% sure that I placed my thumb on the exact spot where she got the vaccine and pressed on accident. And she goes, "Oh!" I felt so fucking bad. I was just going for a kiss, man. I didn't know any better.
It happens. No, it happens. But no, I'm feeling way better now. I know it's been a little while since the last podcast. I'll mention this. The only other thing that happened, and I know I mentioned this, and I've been a little down for a little while. We lost our dog, one of our dogs that our oldest dog, Cheddar. She was over 18. And she was kind of going downhill. We knew for a while, and it just kind of hit all of a sudden, man. She was really kind of struggling. We took her to the vet, and the doctor was like, she has an enlarged heart. They gave us some medications to try and help, but she was having a hard time getting around. And then we woke up one morning, and she had kind of like fallen down the hallway trying to like go to the bathroom, and we knew, it was time.
Right.
It's always tough. When you get pets that those things happen, and it always tell you that time is the biggest healer. But they become such critical parts of your lives that when they're finally not around. Like even now, I still find myself like looking at the corner of the room where her bed was to see. Like I just had a habit because I think that she's there. She's not there. It's just weird. But life goes on, and I know she's not in any pain, and I'm all good.
Yeah, 18 years, 19?
18 and a half. Yeah, she lived a long, good life, that dog.
That's 2 dog lives in a lot of cases.
Life. Yeah, she was a wiener dog, so yeah.
So maybe after COVID, we can take all those dentists and doctors and scientists and put them in a big room and be like, hey, figure out how to make dogs last forever.
Yeah, right.
Right?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Also, when COVID is over, can we all just get more dogs?
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
I'm down. Growing an audience on Twitch in 2021. This is actually, I'm intrigued to hear what sparked this conversation in your head, Jimmy. So fucking take it away, you sexy bastard.
So I find myself lately, and I'm not going to, out anybody or anything, but my inbox and my DMs have been growing lately. Like I've been getting a lot of DMs from different people and questions from, people that I know, new streamers, people that have been in the community for a while. And one of the most common things that comes up these days, it seems, is people ask me, how do you grow a community? I want to grow a community like you've grown a community on Twitch. I like all the people that hang in your channel. It's usually some variation of this. It's it's not like a demanding question, but I've had more than one. I've had several people ask me, like what should I do? What are some tips you could give me to like grow a community on Twitch? And I'm always at a loss for words because the truth is there is no easy way to grow a community on Twitch. There's no magic trick. I think I usually just come back to saying, try and be authentic, which may sound weird coming from a talking pint of beer, but you got to find something that sticks. You got to find something that works for you. And you're probably going to fail a lot in that process because I sure did. I failed a lot trying to figure out what was going to work for me on Twitch. So the only reason I brought it up, and you hear the comment, I know that was the hot take, or it's impossible to grow on Twitch today. It is very difficult to grow on Twitch if you don't have any sort of outside platform that's generating views for you today,
or community, right?
Yeah, some type of community that's going to come in and provide an audience right out the gate. It's just there's so many people that are streaming. How do you grow that core audience you need that is, realistically, going to give you a chance to be discovered on Twitch by other people?
Yeah.
This is always a super interesting conversation to have with people, and it's always a little bit of a rude awakening when I have a conversation with people. Because it always starts off with, or not always, but a lot of the time, exactly like you said, I want what you have. I want to stream, and I want people to watch me. I want to be able to have a community. Nobody ever says, I want to create really good, interesting content that inspires people to do X, Y, and Z. It's always, I just want to do what I want to do and have people watch and have those experiences. So that's always kind of like the first red flag. And that's never like a curtain unveiling of you're a shitty person and you shouldn't stream. It's about like correcting a mindset, because I'm sure when we were all smaller and we saw people with viewers more than us, we were like, oh shit, like I want that. Like if I could just be there, that would be awesome. So I don't mean that in like you're completely wrong about streaming and you should stop. The other part of it is whenever I have that conversation with someone about like, hey, like I want to grow on Twitch. And I respond with, okay, well, like, what do you love doing? Like, what is your passion? What do you heavily enjoy? Very, very rarely does somebody say, I love creating content that makes people laugh. I love creating content because I love collaborating with other people. I love creating art and music with others. I enjoy, live experiences with audiences. It's always like, I love video games and like streaming's fun. And, I kind of like, I enjoy building computers, right? What they love, what they're passionate about does not line up with, I want to have a massive community on Twitch. So whenever I start that conversation, I kind of bust out those guns almost immediately to just kind of shock them into saying, like, you either have the wrong mindset or you're pursuing something that isn't really in line with what you love, like the things that you're passionate about. And very rarely, when I ask, how long have you been doing it for? Do I hear 4 years, 5 years, 6 years? It's always like, oh, I've been at it for 2 months. Like, oh, it's been like a year. And it's like, it's really hard to continue to having that conversation. It's not that what I would say wouldn't have any value to them. It's that you are literally incapable of comprehending what all goes into being a content creator, not a streamer. Because if you want to be a streamer, you have to be a content creator / influencer. That is the resume. The resume is no longer I play video games on Twitch. And if you think like, well, I know one guy that plays video, all he does is play video games. Let's see where he's at in 3 years. Is he playing the same game? Is he on Twitch? Is he even creating content anymore? Because if you as a person...
If he leaves that game, is he still going to have his audience?
Exactly. You can't look at the snapshot of somebody right now and say, oh, they're doing it, therefore that is the ticket. Because that's just not the case. There's so much more into it than that.
Yeah. Well, it's a nuanced discussion. You know, the truth is, there's so much more to growing a community than just, and that's not an easy question to answer because it really depends on, well, what kind of community are you trying to grow? You know, I mean, is it a community that's based off of what you're doing on Twitch? Are you trying to just grow a place for people to hang out? Like, I mean, it's not, I don't even understand how to begin to answer these types of questions. You know what I think, and I saw it go by in chat. I think it might have been Tommy. Yeah, Tommy said it. I think it's kind of like asking somebody who you see who maybe you might perceive to be more successful than you at what they're doing, and you ask them, like saying, "Well, how do you do that?" Or "How do you become rich?" Sort of thing. Like you see somebody who's got a lot of money, like, "Hey, how do you become rich? I want to be rich. How do you become rich?" And not really taking into account the fact that the reason why that individual is probably rich is all the things that they've done that got them to that point. Not always. There's outliers, of course, that people inherited money or whatever. But I think a lot of people that get to being financially independent and wealthy, they did a lot of things to get that way, you know?
Yeah. It's like, how'd you get rich? Well, what do you know about money? Well, nothing. Well,
yeah, it's interesting. So I have two kind of main thought processes here. The one would be, I feel like Twitch is one of the first things that people don't really look at as a social platform, right? They don't realize that it's you producing some sort of experience of your life and presenting it to people so they can experience it. Where like Instagram, Facebook, you're basically just sharing doctored life moments, right? So like, I used to work a lot in the motorsports industry, and people would come up to me and ask like, hey, how do I become a professional race car driver? Right? They would never come up to me and be like, hey, I want to be a famous race car driver. Like they never came up to ask how they get the following that Lewis Hamilton has, or like the following that like a big racing driver has. They were going after the accolades of like being a champion or like winning races, which is a lot of it. It's a much better mindset because you're trying to achieve some sort of a goal, right?
How do I be the best?
It's a tangible goal, right? Where they're by focusing, like if someone came up to me and asked, hey, how do I grow? Like, how do I become an Instagram influencer through racing? It's like, well, first of all, you need to get in the car. Okay. You need to drive the car. Like the first thing you need to do is drive the race car. The second thing you need to do is win. But realistically, like when the objective is the result of the action, it's usually indicative of the person having the wrong mindset, right? Like they're going after the reaction, like the results of putting that work in, instead of being passionate enough to want to pursue the thing that ultimately gets them that success. So when it comes to streaming, it's the exact same thing. Like people just want to have, they want to have viewership and numbers, and for different reasons. It's not everyone's going after the money. Not everyone's going after just having a huge audience. But a lot of the time they're trying to mimic their idols, Shroud, Ninja, whoever these people are, right? They want to be like them. They want to be like MiddleAgedStream. They want to be like myself. Knackers,
not so much.
He's on TikTok. Okay.
Yeah, I'm more famous on other platforms than I am here. So
you don't need this shit. You don't need this dog shit platform. But yeah, I think it comes back to like having the right objective and knowing what you want to do with the platform. Like people that are race car drivers want to use Instagram so then they can share the moments that they're having in the race car, because otherwise no one knows what the fuck is happening. And I think if you approach streaming like that, like maybe you really enjoy playing video games with your group of buddies and you guys have really good times and there's a bunch of funny moments that you wish that you could like encapsulate and share with other people because you genuinely feel like they're the things that you would like to share. That's a better objective than just facing looking at streaming and being like, hey, I want to have a huge audience, right? Like an audience is the resulting action of putting the time and the work and the effort in, or being passionate enough about something to put the time in. I think. Do you guys want to hop in at all right there? Because I'm
really trying to listen and internalize kind of what you're saying.
Okay, so to pivot just a little bit, like we've all as streamers, like I'm a smaller streamer. We're all relative, like we're big. I think Jimmy's a bigger streamer now, percentage wise. Based on Twitch, you're probably like 0.01% or some crazy shit like that because there's so many streamers. Not to blow your ego up.
Let's get to that 001 mark.
But yeah, all streamers are approached all the time. Like regardless of your scale, you're going to be approached with people that that ask you like, hey, how do I become a streamer? Hey, how do I grow on Twitch? Hey, how do we, like, can I play with you? Or like all of these there's different avenues where people try to, get in line with you to either grow their own channels or they're fans of you or they appreciate your content. So they want to get in line with you somehow. And I feel like as streamers, we're all on our own islands, right? Like I don't think we really realize this, but we're so unwilling to like open up to people because there's so many people that are trying to take advantage of little things from streamers. And we tend to like grow a shell and like put ourselves in these different communities and close new people from coming in. But between everything that I've seen from tips and tricks and all of this stuff on how to become a streamer, I've never seen like an appropriate guide on how to network within Twitch, right? Like how to work, like how to identify whether or not you're trying to go after a streamer because he has viewership, or if you think that you could add something to his content. Mm-hmm. How to approach someone to ask them if they can play with you. Should you ask them to get on their auto host list? Like what are the do's and do nots of streaming and being a part of like the Twitch community? Because we can all list things in our head like, hey, don't come into my chat and immediately be like, hey, come over to my chat and follow me, guys. I'd really like you guys to follow me, and like be self-promoting constantly. There's a bunch of little bullet points that we could all throw out. But I feel like at some point that has to be all aggregated and put into a guide for people that are coming to Twitch so then they can have a fruitful experience. Because I couldn't imagine being a new streamer, not knowing anything and having to like go through all of the hoops of not understanding Twitch and trying to ingrain myself in Twitch culture, especially when you're trying to become a Twitch streamer and you're trying to align yourself with other Twitch streamers, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. I love having the conversation with people and using Jimmy's channel as an example, because there's so many, not that what Jimmy did could be written down as like, this is the way to grow on Twitch. Mm-hmm. But Jimmy's growth and blow up is a perfect example as to why there is no Bible on how to grow on Twitch. There were so many little things that randomly fell into line in a really good order and then equaled what Jimmy is dealing with right now. And it's like being able to look at it after the fact and analyze like what happened when, and then like detailing that and kind of putting it in order. It's like, this is why everybody's idea of what growth on Twitch is incorrect. And not because like everybody's fucking dumb, but because there's a million different ways to do it. And there's
too many factors, man. There's too many factors.
So many factors. Yeah. I love that you called it a perfect storm, because that's literally what it is.
Well, and the truth is, when it comes to growth on Twitch, and the other reason why I had brought it up, it wasn't just the questions that people had asked, but it was like, what Bishop was talking about, like there's no guidebook on how to appropriately network and do all that sort of stuff, right? I think that it's the best advice I like to give people when it comes to growth on Twitch, and I'm not trying to be sappy here, and I'll try and explain it, is to look inward, because more often than not, it has nothing to do. A lot of times when people are not doing and I'm guilty of this too. When you are looking for why you're not having success, you're maybe looking at external forces, when really it more than likely is internal forces, and that's causing that. And so that really was kind of the impetus for my own growth, part of it, for my own growth on Twitch, and looking inward. When I say looking inward, I was looking about, well, what is it about streaming I need to get better at? Well, I've never really felt comfortable with a webcam. Well, why are you using a webcam? Because that's what you're supposed to do. Is it? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. And kind of goes from there. So that's not something you can just put in a bullet point and sell to a streamer. I mean, it's different for everyone.
Yeah. You know what I just thought of in the back of my mind? I was trying to find something that was related to Twitch and like this, like what we're talking about. And it's almost like if someone comes up to you and asks how to get a girl to like you. You know, like you can take all of the specific things that person finds attractive, or like all of the specific bullet points that Jimmy, or the hoops that Jimmy jumped through to become or find some level of success on Twitch, and you can write those down. But by replicating those things, it doesn't indicate that you're actually going to find success, right? Like if you replicate exactly the details, that if a girl was to bullet point all the things that she found attractive in a guy, and you were to replicate that doesn't actually indicate, like, it's not going to be successful, right? There's so much more to that, right? It's like the development that those bullet points brought to that person's content and or character in relation to like getting a girl to like you, that were what that person either found attractive or what helped grow that audience, right? It's like the journey along the way that actually surfaced some sort of success. Right?
Look, I'm not trying to compare women to horses here, but all of a sudden I'm just all of a hear me out. Okay, don't crucify me yet, ladies. You telling the story about how do I get a girl to like me? It makes me think too about, people streaming on Twitch. Okay, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't force the horse to drink. It's like you can have the best production value, you can have all the greatest gear, you could have all the greatest cutscenes and this and that and everything else, but at the end of the day, you also have to be something that people are going to genuinely want to watch. And and if they don't, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're a bad person or anything. Some people just aren't cut out for streaming. They just don't, some people just aren't.
Yeah, and I think a big part of it too, Jimmy, is when you list those things out for them, right? How often is their first focus when you're finished that conversation and they walk away and they start doing those things, right? Or they try to replicate them themselves. How many times is their focus the time that you mentioned that you put into streaming, right? It's never the time that is the focus, right? Like how long that journey took. They try to just execute on those bullet points right away and see some sort of success.
Like, okay, this week I'm going to do this. Like, this week, dude, look, you don't understand. Like, it took me like a year just to get my microphone positioned the correct way. Okay? So it's baby steps, man. Baby steps. You got to, it's not something you can do overnight. Now, we have had this discussion multiple times, but make it, as I know we have some other stuff to talk about before we get into questions, so I don't want to beat this horse to dead. This lady horse. Okay.
We're about an hour 20, by the way, right now. Starting late.
Okay. But I think it's really, 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 really important to just figure out what it is you're good at that you can give to the audience, providing value. Okay, whether that's, I have had a lot of people tell me that they really enjoy my streams because I make them laugh. I do a lot of stupid, silly shit. I play a character. I'm still me, obviously, but I can be kind of play a character and do fun, silly stuff, and it makes them laugh, and it makes them have a better day if they can come hang out and have a laugh. I get a little message, that sort of stuff all the time. That to me is the value that I can provide. And I do it in a way that is unique. I think that not many are doing it the way that I'm doing it. There's similarities, of course, but and I think that's what I'm trying to find better ways to do it. So it's taken over 6 years to get to this point. So that's my journey. And
sometimes you just got to put a ton of time in, and eventually you figure out what the fuck's going on, or you find something that you like about it.
Yeah. And for me, it's something that I've been passionate about for a long time. I think another catalyst, one of the reasons why it made a change this year was COVID-19. Because if it wasn't for COVID, I wouldn't have had all the extra time that I got to put into streaming. And I think being able to be one of the biggest things was just being reliable and regular and getting a regular schedule. Boy, that's like half the equation right there. You know? So
global pandemic, create a global pandemic or hope for one. And if that doesn't work out, get on a schedule.
There you go.
There you go.
Regarding your second point, I do have something important on that. But I had a conversation with somebody recently. Somebody had reached out for some streaming advice, and one of the things that I kind of typed out, and then I realized how extensive the list was after I typed it out. So I wanted to illustrate how many different things that I had tried on stream already. And this might seem like a little bit of a brag, but also like look at my viewership and then realize what I'm saying. Being a part of a community and a stream team, community event focused channels, single player focused games, multiplayer focused games, subs choose what games I play, cooking streams, IRL streams, DIY streams, keyboard craft streams. I've had 2 different podcasts. I've done dual streams that have been focused on events. I've created original content for YouTube.
Gaming night streams.
Those are a thing of the past. Creating Discords that are centered around certain topics, creating original content for Snapchat, creating original content for TikTok. Those are all like a super 30,000 foot view look at all of the things that I've tried to make this thing happen. So when I have that conversation with people like, hey, like, well, what have you tried so far? They're like, well, like I've played this game on Twitch and I've also played this game on Twitch. I'm like, okay, well, here's all the things that I've tried so far. Have you branched out into any other platforms, any other type of content, anything outside of your comfort zone to see if there's something that you also love, but something that also sticks as well? And that's kind of a conversation that I like to steer people on as well. Regarding networking, what it is and what it isn't. I think this is a super good topic as well, because I wanted to kind of illuminate how I see networking, and hopefully this would kind of help steer people in a different direction as well. So when I look at myself and how I choose to network, the way that I build relationships is through my podcast. I find people that I like, that are like-minded, and who I think have knowledge that will be really valuable to the end user. So when I reach out to somebody for a podcast or to be a guest on a show, the main focus is, how can I make this conversation between me and the other person valuable to where people will want to watch and or people will also crave it after the fact? Like, how can I make a valuable piece of content that people will want to watch or that people will want to listen to? And so not only do I look at that person and go, this is somebody that I would like to build a relationship with because I adore them so much. The silver lining to it is, at the same time, we can also create a really good piece of content that is valuable to the person that is watching. So it's kind of like a best of both worlds. Instead of just like, hey, do you want to collab? That's not a way to network. You're not going to fucking get anywhere. Now, if I was
the objective of that thing too, right? Like, why are they asking to collaborate?
Right. If I was an Escape from Tarkov streamer, and I started reaching out to all of the Fortnite pros who had just won a bunch of competitions and said, hey, man, I want to have in the podcast to like talk about. It would seem really disingenuous. But the fact that I center my life around technology and then I reach out to people to create technology-centered content, valuable content, it fits my shit. So you got to find what fits your fucking butthole that is also a way for you to network and build relationships, because the people that you network with are going to see right through your bullshit within the first 20 minutes. Like, as soon as you start doing stuff together, they're going to know, like, oh, did this person just want to collab? Or do they actually want to create something fucking awesome? For as many people that I've had on the podcast that I continue to talk with after the fact, there's just as many people that I haven't talked with since, because either I realized I didn't like them that much and we didn't have that much in common, or maybe they didn't feel like there was that much in common with me when they were on.
It was probably the second. It's
a little bit of, it's probably the second.
Probably didn't like it.
There's a lot of factors. So it's also, the podcast for me works as almost like a weeding process, right? Like, it is a way for me to further connect with other people and figure out, like, hey, is this somebody who, like, their morals and their ideas and their personality, are they in line with mine? Or did I just get to meet the streamer face of them, and can we part ways after that?
I just came up while you were talking that whole time. I came up with a great idea for you, Knackers, and I want to pitch this to you. What if you had another podcast, and this is not a meme, what if you had another podcast where you get tech experts, you surround yourself with 2 or 3 other tech people from TikToks or Twitch, wherever you want to find them from, and you guys go around Twitch, and what you do is you pull streamers in, right? And you say, or you can find them through the directory. If you can put a nice message in chat and just say, hey, we have a podcast and we'd like to have you on sometime. We just want to solve one problem for you. And what you guys do is you just float around Twitch. You find people that want to be on, or you find people just through organic means. And you say, hey, come on our show. We want you to come up with one subject, right? One problem that you've been having as a streamer, and we'll help you solve it right now, right? One technical problem. Is it a microphone issue? We'll go through it and we'll run through it with 3 experts live with you on stream. I think that would be pretty badass.
I feel like I like it, but it is also a little bit of like content hijacking, where it's like, hey, I know you might be in the middle of something, come be a part of my content.
So as long as it's not like a Raj Patel thing where he's just pulling people from just chatting with Claw, going into some girl's stream, fucking with them and saying to come on our stream because we're a big deal.
Right.
I think as long as you don't do that and you respect the other people's space and what they're doing, maybe like you message them on Twitter and say, hey, we noticed that you're having some technical issues with your mic. Would you like to come on and we'll help you solve the problem live on stream, so you can, hopefully we'll solve a problem for you, because then that creates value for that streamer and potentially introduces them to you. And that would be a good, look, what I'm basically illustrating is through this, and this is for anyone that's listening, you're creating an opportunity where you're creating additional value for other people, instead of just being like, hey, I want to hop on and play with you because I know you have a lot of viewers. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or something along those lines. Or you've been in the press recently, so I want to play with you. So but yeah, that would be interesting. I would watch that. See, I should be a producer, man. Fuck it, dude. I'm out of here, man. Stream doctors, man. But yeah, that's what I thought. But I think it really goes back to like Kappa and my opinion on this whole thing. It really goes back to like having the right objective as someone that wants to produce content, knowing what you want, and then just trying to go after it. Like, some people genuinely just want to share information and they create Discords for it and they never see any success, which is unfortunate, because you know how many other people are hustling to try to get viewership to grow, that number in the bottom right corner. But yeah, just stay genuine, stay yourself, and hopefully people start to appreciate the work you put out there.
Look, I don't want to make it turn into this conversation like it's all about a number thing. I am eternally grateful for the fact that I have a much larger group of people that are watching me now on Twitch than I did a year ago, Yeah. With that being said, I also know that there's no guarantee this is a thing that keeps going. I still have to keep trying to improve what I'm doing and make it better. And I am in the process of improving it. And I've hired some of the best in the business to help me
you're welcome.
Make some improvements. Oh, I wasn't talking about you. As well.
Get roasted.
Not currently. I'm not currently asking for your assistance.
You're welcome for the future.
He's talking about me, man. I'm listen. I'm
a
VFX artist, man.
But it's just it's one of those questions. There's no easy solution. I wish that there was an easy answer to give. At the end of the day too, like, you have to have the type of personality that just meshes with the people that come by your channel. Maybe, this probably happens to some people that have quit Twitch. Maybe they were really good, they just didn't get the right people coming by that can appreciate their content. And that happens too.
Yeah.
I feel fortunate that sometimes it's literally right place, right time. There is a little bit of luck involved for sure. Where people have found, my content that liked it. So whatever.
Cool. Nice cocks.
Nice cocks, dude. Yeah,
nice cocks.
I like that you illustrated that luck is a little bit of it, because luck doesn't keep people watching you. Luck is just a matter of getting found. Your expertise, your knowledge, your longevity, and your personality and the type of content that you produce is what is going to keep them around after the fact. I guarantee for every person that says like, oh, well, you just got to get lucky, probably have had 1, 2, 3, 10,000 person raids and had nobody stick around because nobody was interested. The luck of getting that big host or raid or being on that talk show is very much a factor. But that doesn't do shit for you once that luck runs out and you actually have to produce content that keeps people watching your channel over and over and over again.
Yeah, and I think a good point for Jimmy too is not to speak for him, but like his content hasn't changed since he's had viewers. Like now he's he'll average sometimes over 100 viewers, and the content's still the same, right? Like that has zero effect on like what he's producing, which is good.
Yeah, it should be. It shouldn't. I mean, and that's one of the reasons why I don't keep the damn view count up when I stream, because I don't want to. My focus is doing what I can do to entertain the people I have in chat. And if chat's going super fast, I do my best to just keep up. Yep. I mean, that's all you can do.
I can't.
It's hard, dude. It's hard. I never, ever even thought this was going to be something I would say, because it's kind of a smug thing. There are times when I'm streaming where chat's going so fast, I can barely keep up. So I just kind of grab some shit here and there and just do my best.
Getting to that point where, like, I have to start I have to not read every message. I have to take 30 seconds and not look, and there's going to be 10 messages that I'm not going to see, and they're going to be gone. They're going to be gone forever, and you just have to fucking accept that.
Yeah,
no
you know what I've been doing? Because like now that I'm back to streaming, I used to care a lot about view count. Even though I used to hide my view count, it used to. Like everyone that streams cares about like how well they're doing. And I used to care a lot. Now, like retrospectively looking back, I realized that, I used to give a lot. I cared a lot. The past like a handful of streams, like I was just playing NASCAR on stream a few days ago, and I didn't give a shit. But I also had TTS in my ear so I could hear when anyone was chatting. But it's been nice, man. I feel like I'm like some old boomer that just doesn't give a fuck about anything anymore. Like my grass is overgrown. I'm just kind of chilling. And, it's kind of nice. Like I just got to just sit and do what I want to do.
I so wish that I could remove the counter that shows me how many viewers I have when I raid somebody, because then I would never see how many viewers I have ever, and that would be the best.
Yeah,
because those numbers mean literally nothing to me. Like there is no effect that those numbers have on my everyday life, because I have a day job that pays my bills. Whether that number is 5 or 50 doesn't fucking matter. But that's whatever. It's gonna be there. You can't get away from it.
One day you're gonna go to Mixer and you'll be like Shroud and you'll lose it anyway. So what's the point,
But we'll make millions.
Yes. All right, we ready to go to my topics?
Yeah.
My topic. Okay. So this is a little bit of a pivot in subjects. We don't really talk about esports too much unless it's like the Twitch rivals banning someone or some shit going on or some drama. But recently, the Valorant scene's been blowing up. I took part in the First Strike series, producing that at the very beginning for Valorant. So I think it was the first ever Valorant official production. I had part in that. So I kind of keep my eye on the community just a little bit. Somehow I kind of ingrained myself into Valorant, not a ton, but I know a few people in the industry and I follow a few people just on Twitter. So what I saw recently was T1, which is a big org in Asia, I believe. They're a big org in League of Legends, but they've moved into Valorant. I think it's the second game that they've ever taken part in. They've been doing pretty good, which is cool. Good for them. But recently, I saw some drama, and they've gotten a little bit of flack because they hired an assistant coach who was formerly a professional player who was found to have cheats playing with the cheating application. Yep.
Because I know, I'm just going to go grab a drink because I know the story. I'll be right back.
Yeah, you go do your thing. So I'll illustrate the story. So basically, they hire an assistant coach. He was formerly a pro in PUBG and some other battle royale game. PUBG, yes, PUBG and what's the one that's on EA? What's that battle royale that everyone plays? It's
Battlefront?
I can't remember. No. Fuck, what's it called? I can't remember what it's called. Whatever.
Apex Legends?
Apex Legends. Yes, that's the game. So PUBG and Apex Legends.
How the fuck did I know that
you're a
over
gamer, man.
you?
Listen, that game's dead. I've never played it. It's whatever. So
what? You're a lying sack of shit. I know you've played that game.
I've literally never played Apex Legends in my life. I played PUBG.
Okay.
Though. Okay. Yeah, I haven't played Apex. I wish I had. But PUBG. So PUBG, he was a pro in that game, and he was found to have cheating applications, probably some sort of aim hacks on his computer. And he was banned from that on multiple events, right? Multiple accounts. So now T1 has hired this person.
Can you tell me how long ago this was?
A few years.
Like 2 years?
I believe that it was 3 years, but based on timing for PUBG when it was big, that would have been the time frame. Okay. So person was previously a professional player who was found to have cheats, who was cheating, and they hired him to be a coach. But to get to the story, ultimately T1 came out and they had this video where they wanted to address this, right? Because they hired this person who was formerly found to have cheats, and they wanted to talk about how their character has developed and now that they're a reputable person in the industry and someone that they should hire as a coach.
Right.
And within this video, it was about 5 minutes long. They were talking about they addressed this in quotations with by talking about the adversities that this person has faced, all the lost opportunities that this person has faced because they were found to be a cheater. All of these potential negatives that had an effect on building this person's character. And really, this brings to light, esports has had a history of cheating on grand stages. iBuyPower has cheated. There's a bunch of different brands and teams that have found success and been kicked out, but realistically just pulls away from the validity of the whole scene, like professional gaming in general, and also esports in general. Like, just hurts the scene, obviously.
Right.
But I guess the subject we can't really dive into the character of this particular person. But my question and kind of where this is all going is how long should someone, if someone's found cheating in any industry? So Jimmy, you're obviously involved in sports for several years. How long after someone's been found cheating should they have to serve a sentence before they should be allowed to come back and take part? Is their character always like, should we just have that person ostracized and shove them out of the industry because they cheated other people out of opportunities? Or is it okay to allow someone that's cheated back to have another opportunity in the space?
This is another example of a question that has way too much nuance to answer with a simple response of a time, or it depends on what was the severity of the original cheating. How did was it something that affected somebody out of millions of dollars? Was it something that I know for a fact that we all go through things in life. And the truth is, there's no such thing as a guarantee of a second chance. Mm-hmm. The fact that this company or this this competitive esports team is willing to stick their necks out for this guy says something to that nature. Yeah. So this might be one of those kind of I don't think there's a hard and fast rule. Obviously, cheating is bad. Yeah. With that being said, do I think that everyone should just automatically be banned forever if they get caught cheating? Not necessarily. However, this is totally different. He's not a player anymore. He's an assistant coach on an esports team teaching strategies and stuff. Is this guy going to get in and teach them how to cheat and do shit? That's I'm sure some people are saying. Who knows? I don't know enough about this individual or enough to say whether this is a good idea or a bad idea, but I can certainly understand the arguments on either side. This is one of those things that I think there's just too much nuance to where you can you could really just say without a doubt on one side or the next with a decision. I would have to know more, and I'm not asking.
So let me illustrate a scenario. So let's just say you're tennis is a one-on-one sort of sport, right? Let's say someone is found.
Fuck tennis, dude.
Fuck tennis.
I hate tennis. Can we pick a different sport?
So I'm thinking of like head-to-head sort of situation.
Yo, fuck badminton.
Fuck you.
What?
Ping pong.
Ping pong, yeah.
All
So
right.
ping pong. So let's say that you're found to be using
fuck you, knackers.
PEDs, right? Or you're using a paddle that literally makes it so then every time that someone hits the ball, your paddle goes directly to that paddle, and you're able to return that paddle. So regardless of how hard all of the other competition that's facing you has to try, and they train and train and train and work, they can never defeat you because you're cheating. Should that person be allowed to continue to compete in the same space, or to even have a position in that space without, like, I believe that everyone, like, you should, not everyone, but people deserve second chances and people can change. But I think that in these spaces that are so small, there are actually, I'm leading the jury. I'm realizing what I'm doing. Okay, let's just say that guy's cheating. He's using a paddle that's literally making it so his competition cannot beat him. Should that person be able to ever return to that scene after they've wronged the people that he's competing against?
I think yes. I think it depends on the situation. Was this person just looking to get the competitive edge, or are we talking like Lance Armstrong blood doping and denying it for years level of cheating sort of deal? You know what I mean? Like, that's totally
right.
I mean,
let's say Lance Armstrong's bike had a motor inside of it and he didn't have to try. He was just riding. So all of the other people that were training vigorously to be able to compete
obviously
with him,
that's no way. Then yeah.
Okay.
I don't know, man. This is a question that is so loaded in so many areas. It is too nuanced for me to give you a definitive answer unless I knew the specific case. But then even when it comes down to it, isn't it all just subjective on the individual or the jury or the judge or whoever's looking in on it? I mean, isn't that what guilt is all about anyway? Where we determine what a level, because that's why we have juries. That's why we have a court system. So that way, you have, a way to do it. And like, the guy should be counting his fucking lucky stars if this, like I said, this esports team has put their necks out there to put this guy back on there.
Yeah.
They didn't have to do that. I mean, I don't think this is kind of unusual same thing in the sporting world. If you're accused of cheating, that's it. It doesn't matter how great you were, you're done. I mean, look at Pete Rose. Of course, that was gambling and shit, but But yeah, I mean, Pete Rose, he ain't gonna be. He has nothing to do with baseball, despite being one of the greats. No.
Yeah. All right, Knackers, your turn, brother.
I gotta get some beer, but I'm gonna be listening on my phone, and I'm gonna leave you guys with this.
Anal Aluba.
Dude, how sad that Jimmy's anus doesn't automatically produce secretion. What a life.
Yeah. There's just some people that just don't. They just don't, man.
They just don't secret.
Yeah. They just don't secret.
Up until around last year, I was of the mindset that if you got caught cheating in a video game, that you should never be allowed to compete again. Some of the outside things that I forgot about is that a lot of these kids who are competing are 14, 15, 16, 17 years old. And it's no secret that everybody makes mistakes, but teenagers make really stupid fucking mistakes. Like, teenagers nut inside of other people without condoms, with not even really thinking about it. Like, definition of a life sentence. Logic said it best. What up, Cat? I almost said cunt. Hi, Cat. This is so tough because I understand that not everybody cheats to win. Not everybody cheats to be the best. Some people cheat to have fun. Some people cheat to troll. Some people cheat to get into tournaments that they would never normally be able to get into. So, do I think that context matters? No. However, the good thing about cheating in a video game is it is really, really easy to track if you already know that the person is cheating. So, personally, lifetime probation of cheating. And by that, I mean, if you are competing in a tournament for money or prizes, you agree to have special monitoring or software that is tracking the computer that you are playing on. And whether that is your personal computer at home or just the computer at the tournament, I think that could be debated. But you have already shown that that is something that you are interested in. So, like, if you're a drug addict and you are, let's say you're a professional ball player, nobody's going to put you at a hotel that is notorious for drug dealing, right? They're not going to put you in that position because you've already proven that you are weak-minded in that area. So I think that if you've been caught cheating, you have to agree that you're going to be under heavy eyes, right? Yep. The benefit is that you get a second chance. You get to compete. It shouldn't, just because you got caught doesn't mean that you should go right back to, God damn it, the camera's focusing on the cat. I got to let you go, buddy. It doesn't mean that you should be able to go back to being treated just like everybody else because you chose to make that decision, the decision to cheat. Right. So we've all been shitty people before. We've all made mistakes, and we have all been on the other side of, can I please get a second chance? I don't think that gaming is an exception to where you should be able to just never be able to compete again. Because I think in a time of weakness, you can absolutely make a stupid decision. And if you're willing to agree, you know, I'm sure players that get caught cheating, probably not on a league level, but I would assume that, like, I almost said Sammy Hagar. Sammy Sosa probably had some internal tests that happened a little bit more frequently than the tests that came from the league, right? There was probably an extra set of eyes, and if you're okay with doing something like that, I don't think that's the worst thing to ask of you. Because, and now here's the other caveat. Not everybody who does drugs because they think they're fun and they think they're awesome. A lot of people who get addicted to drugs got fucked over and got a shitty hand at life.
Right.
Nobody who cheated at video games was like, oh man, his computer's dead. Nobody who cheats at video games was like, oh man, my life growing up was really difficult, and you know, I just had to do this just to make things better. Like, cheating was a choice when it came to video games.
Yeah, and that's where, like, and I completely agree with you there. Oh, hey, he's got his face on. Love this guy.
Hey.
So nice toucan shirt.
Beautiful toucans, man.
It's a pelican.
Beautiful mustache.
You have your toucans are gorgeous. Do they have nipples?
You're an idiot.
That was a good one, though, right?
Oh, there's toucans. Wait, they're having sex on his nipple.
Oh my God, they're fucking.
Wait, can you pull that closer to the camera?
Show us your toucans.
No,
toucans,
I'm not.
Man.
I'm not gonna.
So to go back to this, like I pitched this towards Jimmy too, because I know that he's had experience in sports with middle school kids taking steroids and cheating. Yeah, of course, his whole team, I've heard. But ultimately, like, you made a really good point, Knackers, and I think that's in sports. Like, cheating is going to happen regardless, right? People are going to try to find some sort of competitive edge in all things, right? Whenever you have, like, Formula One is notorious for teams finding ways to cheat, finding, you know, competitive edges, doing things, pushing the limits of what the rules say, or twisting the words of the rules to try to exceed the boundaries of what's capable. I think the difference here with gaming that you kind of alluded to is that there's a level of premeditation that doesn't exist in other facets of cheating, right? When you're cheating in sports, okay, so when you're cheating in sports, say you're Barry Bonds and you're firing up steroids in your veins, right?
Barry Bonds.
You still have to have some sort of level of.
It sounded like
Barry Bonds. What did I say? Barry Bonds.
Hey, Barry Bonds.
Barry Bonds. Okay, so let me finish my point, Jimmy.
Okay.
When you take steroids, there's still a level of ability that you have to be able to compete at that high level. Steroids are just allowing you to have it enables extra ability out of your body, right? To build body mass and muscle. There's nothing in competitive sports that says now when you swing your bat, you're going to hit a home run literally every single time you connect with the ball. You don't even have to try to connect with the ball. So in gaming, if you're using something like aim hacks or ESP where you can see through walls, the competition has literally zero chance of even competing at the same level. It's not even the same game. So at that point, it's not only just trying to find a competitive advantage, but it's creating an environment where literally you cannot lose, right?
Well, what's the question we're asking here? Like, I get what you're saying, and I'm not trying to.
No. So this is just my opinion on it. So this is not a question at this point. This is just what I think. So I think, yes, everyone deserves a second chance. But I think at the same time, you have to realize that it requires a certain level of character to cheat at a game in the first place. And that's not something that develops out of someone's system after they, like, choosing to cheat at a game is something that takes a certain type of person to do. I'd like to say a fucking piece of shit. But it's also someone that's not willing to put the time and effort in to become as good as the other people on the field. So I don't know about this particular individual. I'm not going to mention the names or anything along those lines because I don't know this particular circumstance. But I think that when you've stepped into the realm of cheating, you realize you accept the outcome of what's going to happen if people realize that you're cheating. They're going to realize you're not.
There's no guarantee of a second chance in anything.
Right.
So, in my opinion, it's wrong. Would it be? Is it nice that people get a second chance for stuff? Mm-hmm. Sure. If I was the head of this esports organization, would I have made this decision? Probably not. Probably not.
So to kind of cap end this, I think that him moving into a position of being a coach is great because I think as they illustrated, T1 illustrated in this video, in kind of an awkward way, which is another discussion, but they illustrated that he lost all of the opportunities of becoming a professional player in any other game, even though he had transitioned from PUBG to Apex to other games, wanting to compete in Valorant, then realizing coaching was a better direction. I think that you shouldn't, if you choose to cheat at a professional level and cheat other people out of their opportunity to be professional players, because there's other people that are affected down the line that are losing to this person and seeding. I think that you should lose your opportunity to then compete in the future, unless you I think Jimmy, you mentioned, or Knackers mentioned, it was you, Knackers. You should have to submit to another level of scrutiny, acknowledging that you did cheat and that you have to, people are going to track whether or not you're going to cheat in the future.
Because that's our drug test. That is the only way that we can verify.
Like, you've got Barry Boons, you got fucking steroids in your veins, bud. We're going to put you fucking through the thing, man. You're going to have to stick a fucking needle in your vein, pull out some blood, and we're checking that shit.
To your point, Bishop, super quick, because it's not like, and I keep comparing this to drugs, but it's not like somebody handed you a joint and said, hey, this is called PCP. It's sweet. Have some. Or, hey, this is crack. It's pretty cool. Here. Hey, it's not like some kid said, hey, man, you should try out this hack. It's cheating. It allows you to win more games. And it allows you, and then some dummy was like, oh my God, what is cheating? Sure, I'll install this on my computer.
Whoa, it's an application that runs in the background. Just don't tell anyone about it.
Yeah.
Oh God.
There's none of that because you're not playing games without knowing what cheating is, unless you're fucking 9.
Look, I don't want to make this sound like I think the question that was asked was basically like, should this have happened? I mean, should this guy have a second chance? Is that the base of the question?
Yeah.
He was lucky to. I mean, like I said, knowing what I know about the situation now, I likely would have said, sorry, dude, I wouldn't want to deal with that. You probably need to be looking for a job in a different career field. It's kind of like one of those things. It's a nuclear option. If you choose to cheat in a competitive sports field or competitive anything, it's the nuclear option, because if you get caught, you're done. That's it.
You know what the outcome is.
That's the outcome. Right. So there's no guarantee. The point I was making was I don't think cheaters necessarily should be shot and killed. But it's at the same time, if you cheat, whatever you cheated in, you can no longer be a part of that field. And
I think
maybe you go on to be something great at something else.
I think
but
to be
it's
fair
not going to
as
be
well,
that field.
Jimmy, just to add a little bit more context, That's exactly what's happened. This guy is no longer competing. He tried to compete in other games. He's no longer competing to any extent in professional gaming. Now he's coaching, right? Obviously, esports is a small community. It's a small place. So he's always going to have that stain on his shoulders. I think that there should always, like, this is the first time that it was publicly addressed, and it was through this org. And they didn't even acknowledge that there's a bunch of people that were hurt by losing out on, opportunity based on that. Right.
Right.
So I think to be fair, that did happen. Like, this person didn't receive a second chance. He's receiving an alternative chance in gaming, in the space.
Yeah.
I think that and I urge anyone that is listening to go and check out the videos just on T1's Twitter account. But it's interesting because while they're running through these, they're acknowledging what happened, but they're making it seem like it was like this big traumatic life event that this person went through, and that they're a victim of like the fact that he chose to download an application and cheat against other pro players.
It's like gaslighting.
Yeah,
it's like
oh,
I was the one who did something wrong, but all of the shit that I went through.
I grew from not being able to. I cheated and hit 50 home runs, and my name's Barry Bonds. But because I cheated, it made me a better baseball player. It's like you went through the adversity of getting shit on, which you knew was the result of your actions going into this. Like, no one cheats and says, hey, people are going to fucking love me, man. Like, guys are going to love me. People cheat just to piss people off. Like, play Battlefield. That's a perfect example. But with this particular, like, sit and watch this. My opinion on it is that T1 was sitting there saying, hey, like, we hired this cheater. We realize people are still pissed off at this person, but this person's character has changed a lot and he's grown, which is totally up to them to decide, right? But I think what would be more appropriate is if T1 acknowledged the damage that he did to the other spaces in the industry by cheating, right? Like, the people that were affected, the other players that were trying to compete at the same level, the people that literally had zero chance of defeating this person on a large scale, right? Or on any scale. So that was what I think there's a better approach, and this is kind of a different discussion of whether or not he should be in the industry. I think he should be a coach. He's assistant coach, great. He's not competing. As long as he's not controlling a mouse and a keyboard with application on the back end to help him beat the other teams, I think that's fine. Maybe he learned something on the back end when he was looking at how teams are rotating, because he can see them through the wall. He knows a thing or two about how players play now. So maybe he can turn that into some sort of coaching, use that as information for his players.
So your issue was T1's approach of, you should feel bad for this person because of what he went through, instead of saying, hey,
he's here now.
We hired a cheater, but we believe that he's a good person and can bring value.
Exactly. That's exactly my position on this whole thing. I had the question because it was an interesting topic related to like whether or not cheaters should be allowed to compete. Not necessarily. I know we've mentioned this specific instance with this individual plenty of times now, or that's like the main source of this topic. But where I was pitching that piece of the subject was towards just, should people be able to get a second chance in the industry after they've cheated? Which I think we've all come to a relatively similar conclusion. But now I've pivoted to also talking about how this whole thing kind of unraveled, and now T1's getting flack for it because they're positioning it as if this person's a victim because he's lost opportunities in the space based on his cheating, and he's had to grow, which, in my opinion, they could have approached it a little bit better.
Other than the only sport that I can think of, professional sport, and I think that's a whole nother conversation, is like when we think about professional gamers, like what other sport takes in people at 12 or 13 or 14, right? They go through high school, they go through college, and then they're a professional. And we've got kids in fucking middle school that are becoming professionals.
Right.
What sport, other than MMA, can you get caught cheating and continue to compete? Because you've got MMA dudes that get caught with steroids, and then they just go back to just not using steroids and then are still able to compete. Does that exist in any other sport where you're not just like completely written off?
I'll set this up for Jimmy, because I know Jimmy knows a lot more about sports than I do.
You know the spats.
He's knows sports. He's much manlier than I am. He plays with his mustache. Great guy. Okay.
Two cans.
I think the biggest difference is that in gaming, when you cheat, like there's a different varying level of cheating when it comes to gaming. Like, obviously, you can cheat by having a faster computer. You can cheat by taking Adderall. You can cheat by taking actual PEDs. You can. There's plenty of things you can do. You can that are outside of the game itself. But when it comes to this particular instance, or within gaming, when people are using legitimate like ESP or aim hack, they're literally making it so the game is not the same game. Like, they're not playing by the same set of rules. Where when it's compared to sports, the only thing that I could imagine would be something like Formula One, where a team develops a piece of technology that is hidden, where it gives them an extra 50 horsepower on the back straightaway or 100 horsepower. So when they're racing for money against a team that's following the same rules, on the straightaway, they're going 25 miles an hour faster and passing them, making it literally impossible for that other team to beat them. Where I think when you look at sports, like anyone that's taken performance enhancing drugs like Lance Armstrong or Barry Bonds or whoever the hell you want to mention, they still have to compete, right? Like, their body is doing something at an enhanced level, but they still have to be good at, like, Lance Armstrong was great at riding bikes. Barry Bonds was great at baseball. But the physical capacity of what they were doing is where they cheated, instead of them being like, hey, instead of me swinging a bat, I just want you to give me I want to get to third base literally every single time. As soon as I get up to bat, I know for a fact I'm going to third base. I'm doing a home run literally every single time I touch the home base. I think that's the biggest difference. Where in sports, there's varying levels. Like John Jones, who was found to have PEDs, right, from a supplement company. It's different because there's so much ambiguity, I think that's the term, of what he did. There's so much unknown, right, of what he was going through, what his personal trainer was telling him to do, what he was eating, all the different things he was ingesting over the time of his training camp, that it's hard to determine the specific thing that led to, they were able to figure out it was from one of his supplements. But there's enough doubt to be like, well, you don't know if that guy's actual cheating. It's not like Bones Jones was like, I'm going to download a specific application that's going to make me 10 times stronger than all men, so I literally can't get knocked out.
Yeah, cheating doesn't mean that you are incapable of competing at that level.
Yeah. Jimmy, thoughts? Do you take performance-enhancing streaming drugs, Jimmy?
Yes, he does.
Called beer.
So yeah, I don't really know if I know that, like, in baseball, if you get caught with cork bats or pine tar on your hand or performance enhancing drugs, like you're
going to get suspended, and then if it's a repeat thing, it happens, and then if it becomes a habit, you just get banned. So like that's basically how it works in sports. It's kind of like 3 strikes you're out in a lot of sort of situations, and the severity of the crime matches, and I think that's how it should go in esports. The severity of the cheating should match what the punishment is. In most cases, it should be a ban from competition. I think that should be the bottom line. So that's all I really have else to say on the subject. I can't really get more into nuance without getting into hypothetical situations. So yeah, that's all I got.
As a final kind of more general question, why do either of you think that being a competitive gamer is such like, it's like one strike you're out kind of deal with gaming compared to other methods of cheating, right? Because like when you think of somebody, like when you see a YouTube video of like 10 streamers who are caught cheating, it's like, they're a piece of shit. They're should never compete again. They should never be able to play video games. But in other aspects of life, somebody steals money from the till, somebody takes a PED. It's like, well, maybe they can still,
because it's not as simple as black and white. It's all gradients. It's all based, and also money is a factor too. You got to look at too. You got to think of these major league players. They're an investment by the owners of the teams that have paid for them. They got caught cheating too. You got to think that's millions of dollars worth of investment. They're trying to make sure that they get good on their investment. So there's more to it than just one party when we're talking about major league sports and those types of things. Whereas in the streaming or esports world, you're just talking about maybe that competitor and their esports team. So not nearly the same thing.
There's not as much of a risk involved, but I think it goes back to my previous, just what I was just saying with the varied levels of cheating, right? Like in sports, it isn't black and white, like Jimmy said, but in gaming, there's probably a lot more cheating that we don't know about, like people using aim assist or like the Chronos Zen on their controller to be able to hit shots more regularly. That's more in that gray area where, like, if you're using an application that gives you ESP or aim hacks, that's a complete, like, you're fully in the white now, right? Like, it's clear that you're cheating.
It's not the same thing. It's the only thing that makes esports and sports the same thing is that it's a competitive game that you're playing. They're not the same type of things that you're doing. So I just don't. I'm not saying that this doesn't have merit, this question. I'm just saying I don't know if we can really answer any further than we've already have.
Yeah. They're different in the varying levels, but I think Knackers, you mentioned that, and we could have this on this subject, but you mentioned that, like, there's a lot of people that get found to be cheating, or streamers that were caught cheating. Those are the examples of people that were, like, definitely using, like, applications that are third party to change the rules of the game.
Right.
There are so many events of people finding competitive advantages within games, whether it's selecting servers. There's so much, right, that you could do to find competitive advantage, that those things aren't like an immediate, hey, you're dead to us, you're out of the industry. But I think in esports, I think when someone chooses to download like that, it is clear that your objective is to cheat and to like borderline hack the game, right? You're making a decision at that point that is clear in that you just want to beat other players and win, and that there's no opportunity for other people to win. Like Barry Bonds, when he's cheating, there's a chance that he could still lose. Where when someone's cheating using aim hacks, they literally cannot lose, right? If used correctly.
That's actually a really good point that I forgot of. It made me think of a time where there was a team of H1Z1 players that were using a helmet. It was either a helmet or a helmet skin in game that gave you like a durability perk over other people. And that's such like a mild, like obscure way to get an edge, like on the surface level. But when you actually get into the competitive nature, a 1-tap headshot compared to a 2-tap headshot is fucking massive. Huge, that is totally different. And that's actually when we've been talking about cheating this whole time, totally forgot kind of like that aspect of cheating.
Yeah, like people like look at platformers, like people that are speedrunning games, they'll find little skips, but those are parts of the game's, like, what makes the game up. Yeah, it's not officially.
And they have certain rules for certain runs, whether you can use certain skips or not. So
exactly. So that's different. Kind of the it's
different,
completely different. Where, like, if you have a script that's running that teleports Mario from the beginning to the end of the match, that's not a part of the game or like the level, then that's when it's a clearly cheating.
Oh, Jimmy knows about that.
Yeah. With Battletoads, he cheated, right?
All of them, you dude. Kid.
Yeah. Teleported. Yep. He has.
I got the video evidence to prove I didn't, so y'all can.
I saw him actually cheating in Roblox. He hired a guy on Fiverr to boost him through the tower defense level.
Dude, I heard that. Somehow had the same exact last name as Jimmy too. They even looked alike. What the fuck?
Yeah,
strange.
He was on our last podcast.
Strange. I know.
Getting into the Q&A part of the podcast, fantastic topics of conversation tonight. Absolutely. By the way,
topics.
Yeah. Oh, hey, before we move, can I tell you what my drink is? Casey sent me a message.
Holy shit.
A mango cart wheat
we don't
ale
care now.
with fresh OJ and lemon.
Sorry, go ahead. Can you say it again?
Thank you, Casey.
Mango cart wheat ale with fresh OJ and lemon.
Okay.
I drank the whole thing. It's fucking cooked, man. That's
the personalized message after the drink ingredients?
An Amazon link. I bought this. Must try.
Damn.
Oh, it's ice cream. No. No special message.
All right, fine.
Fuck.
First question from Master Sly. Anyone played Diablo 2 or checked out the remaster?
Never played a Diablo game.
I haven't either. I don't know what it is. I love Blizzard games to death. Been playing them for decades.
Isn't it an RTS?
Not really. No, not. I think it's like an RPG, but top down, like or 2 quarters down. I can't remember what they call it.
It's like Ultima or.
Yeah. I never played those shits either.
But yeah, I saw the remake. It looks nice, man. I didn't play Ultima either, but I played WoW, so I'm kind of a degen.
I didn't play WoW. I didn't play Ultima.
Is he even a gamer?
This is why we have him here. He's here to talk about sports, man.
True.
He's our sports guy.
I beat Battletoads.
I beat the first 3 levels of Battletoads. All right, next question from Girthy. Any pro tips on streaming to an empty room, particularly when using content to drive viewership?
Get good at your inner monologue. That's always something you can improve on when you're streaming to low viewership. And it's something that you can, even when you're not streaming to low viewership. There are times when I'm streaming where I just literally am focused on something that's going on in the game. I'm gonna dialogue what's happening. You have to do that. If all your stream is you responding to what's going on in chat, that's no one's going to care about watching your stream. I don't think. You have to respond to stuff that's going on in game too. So if no one's going on in chat, then you all in on what's going on with your own monologue. That's a great thing to work on.
Responding to what's in chat is the instant gratification dopamine hit that you get from streaming. Creating something where you are able to carry your own monologue and create content on your own, that's like the meditation result of like the long-term result of being a great content creator. Anybody can sit and react to what's going on in chat, and we're all guilty. Like sometimes you just sit there and you just read chat for like hours and talk. But the true art comes into being able to transcend that. And live Twitch is chat interaction, but what you do with the chat interaction after the fact, like after the just reading it, is what is going to set you apart. My response to this, and it is so cliche, and it is so like not giving you a direct answer, but you have to figure out a way that when somebody loads up twitch.tv/following, bless you,
God bless you.
You have to figure out a way to convince that person to click on you rather than click on somebody else. What are you delivering to them? Again, this is within the context of conversation of, do you want to grow a community on Twitch? Do you want to stream? Or do you want to be a streamer? Because if you want to stream, you can do it however the fuck you want. But if you want to be a streamer, you have to figure out, okay, what is unique about me or my stream that when somebody's looking at their following list, they're going to go, oh shit, Girthy is live. I need to click on him because of X. Because the amount of people that just click on you because you're live is heavily going to be outweighed by the people that click on you for a certain reason, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think the best advice I can give is, especially if you're starting out, is literally go back, like while you're working or whatever, and have your stream up and sit and listen to it. And you're going to hate it. It's going to fucking suck. Most cases it's going to suck, but there's little cherry moments in there that you're going to appreciate. And you can understand how the flow of your stream needs to be. So then you can make that correction for when you're live, right? Because if you're working on your inner monologue, there's going to be times that, for instance, you're going to have to work on, filling time. Like, what do you have to... elaborate on that you're experiencing the game that you need to vocalize so then the listener can actually understand what you're attempting to do. So for instance, if Jimmy's playing XCOM, he might be wanting to talk about the strategy that he's outlining before he goes through with it, instead of just sitting there and looking at his screen going, okay, let me select Bishop and kill him again for the 30th time. Put his plaque up in the ship's bar. Okay, let me kill him. So yeah, just working on understanding what you're doing with your voice or like your inner monologue and being able to create like a somewhat compelling thing for people to listen to. I did this recently with a NASCAR stream. I was sitting and listening to myself going, God damn it, get out of my way, brother, get it. And I talked too much almost. So I think it all comes down to understanding how you're filling that time and creating something that people can sit and listen to, or that you could sit and listen to. Because if you don't want to sit there and listen to it, it's very unlikely that you should be hoping other people sit there and listen to it.
So. It's a loaded question, and we could fucking dive into
another nuanced question. We've had a lot of those tonight.
The only reason I can unnuance it is because I know that Girthy is new to it. Don't worry about anything, dude. Just keep doing it, having fun, and the rest of the stuff will fall into place eventually. Don't stress too hard. Last question is not necessarily a question, but a statement from Squirt Kensington. Not a question, but David Sampson, also known as Samsonite, former president of the Marlins, has said that when a player gets traded, one of the questions they ask is, do they use PEDs? So the team knows that there might be a risk once the trade is complete. Interesting. So I guarantee that's a conversation within these sports organizations as well. Like, hey, how strong is this dude's seed or what?
Yeah. DG men.
All right, motherfuckers. Well, with that said, it's time to spend 30 minutes talking about Jimmy's two cans. That is the end of the podcast. Thank you guys all so very much for coming through, hanging out with all of us. It was a blast as always. Thankfully for all of you, because we skipped last week because of some fucking pagan holiday, we're actually going to be back again in 7 days for another episode of Crocs and Hot Pockets, number 146, with both of these dudes. And hopefully we'll have some non-drama frog content to discuss as well.
Hell yeah, baby.
Every once in a while, it's cool to like not talk about anything substantial and then just like talk about what's like the drama shit that's in the world lately. And it's been fun. So for everybody in chat listening in the future, we love you. Thank you so much. We're going to go around the room, have everybody introduce themselves. Mods, please don't use the guest command in chat. I didn't update it. If you want to follow these guys on social media, just click on their names and check out their nudes. All right. So BishopGP, who are you and where can we find you online?
Hey, man, my name's BishopGP, as Knackers mentioned. You can find me at Bishop was here on Twitter or on Twitch at BishopGP. I've been streaming a little bit. I might stream a little bit. We'll see. Fire that bad boy up. Maybe play a little bit of NASCAR. If you have any recommendations, actually shoot me at me on Twitter. I want to know what company you would add that's a total piece of shit. Like Robinhood. Add it to the side of the car. Because I want to create like NASCARs while they go through the season. They swap liveries because some sponsors don't give a shit about some races. So I want to have different liveries for different tracks. And they all have to be like Blockbuster, Robinhood, garbage companies.
LimeWire.
Oh! Dude, Vema. I think Verma. Is that what you said, Jimmy? The Vema or Verma?
Vima?
Vima. Is that what it's called?
Zima.
Vima is the MLM energy drink company.
Yeah. What is Zima?
No, Zima is like an old alcoholic beverage they used to sell in the 90s.
For Zoomers.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Makes sense.
Perfect. It's perfect.
My name is Jimmy, a.k.a. MiddleAgedStream. You can find me on Twitch Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, Saturdays around 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. I'll be playing NES Batman again on Tuesday. I don't know how long. This will be like my third or fourth day, I think, on this game. It's fucking hard, man. But I'm trying to beat that. And then on the weekends is where we have a little more variety. But yeah, with my son. But it's going to be a full week. It's almost summertime, boy.
Ooh.
Summertime. Getting jiggy with it. Jimmy, I heard through the grapevine that every other Sunday you have been on a podcast. Can you tell us at all about that?
It's his favorite one.
What? What are you talking about?
He does not realize I'm talking about the Crocs and Hot Pockets. Everybody, thank you so much for coming out to the podcast tonight. It is awesome hanging out with all of you and audio listeners in the future. You're dope too, and no matter what you say, you're fucking gorgeous. Thank you guys for chilling with us, and we will see you guys in 7 days for the next episode of Crocs and Hot Pockets. Good night, everybody.
I didn't know how to advertise the podcast that we were already on the podcast.
I literally threw you an underhanded softball.
And you didn't Barry Bonds it out. You should have fucking Barry
You
Bonds it out.
weren't even holding a bat.
I know.
Should have had Amax, man.
Dude, you should have cheated.
Should have cheated. Should have cheated, man.
All right, let's all make a super, super loud, obnoxious noise, and then I'm going to cut the podcast, all right?
Cool.
3, 2, 1. Ah!